Washington County Board of Education meeting to order. I'd like to ask Mr. Waters to lead us in prayer and Mr. Irvin to lead us in the pledge, so please remain standing.
Let's pray. Our dear Heavenly Father, we thank you so much for this day. We thank you for this opportunity just to be here and healthy. And Lord, thank you for the rain. We may not know why we need it, but you do. God, we thank you for this, the people in attendance, Lord. We ask that you'll keep them safe, free from sickness and harm, Lord. We thank you for the opportunity to serve you through this. Give us wisdom and knowledge as we make decisions tonight to better our community and our county. In Christ's name, amen.
I have to have some help. Come here, young man. You help me do the pledge? All right, turn around. Go ahead.
To the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you.
Thank you, young man. You just called me perfect pledge.
I didn't know it. That's the reason I asked him to help me. There you forgot it.
Thank you, Keith and Vince. All right, moving into the agenda. Next is public comment, which I see none. So we'll shoot right into the SRO presentation. I feel very secure tonight. Appreciate you all very, very much coming. I'll turn it over to Sergeant Taylor if I could, please.
Well, it is our pleasure to be here tonight. I've been looking forward to this for a couple of weeks now. Grateful for the opportunity for us to come in and introduce our wonderful school resource officers. This is what we're going to be starting out with in 2023 and into 2024. Want you to know that the middle of August, apparently we're going to be getting another school resource officer, and whenever that happens, we'll make you aware, and we're looking forward to that. Also want to make note, all the SROs are going to come up and take just a minute to introduce themselves. I'll do the same here in just a minute. One person that is here, wanted to be present for this is Major Randall Wines. So he's here in the room. Want to recognize that he's here, and we appreciate his support. Because of his support and that of Chief Rose and Sheriff Sexton, this is the most SROs we've ever had, period. We've never had this many, and so we're very grateful to them. As the SROs come up, like I said, they're going to introduce themselves. Some of them over the last year has accepted leadership positions, and they may take an extra minute to talk to you about kind of the program that they help oversee for the school resource officer division or unit. And so just kind of bear with them. Those that have canines, they'll introduce their canines, or the canines may introduce them. We'll see here in just a minute. But this is our entire division right now. So just starting with myself, I know all of you know me, but we've got some visitors here. We're grateful for them being here, and I know that this is being sent out over the web. My name is Jared Taylor. I'm a sergeant with the School Resource Officer Division. Been in law enforcement for almost 23 years. This is my 4th year as a school resource officer, and again, very fortunate to be in this position. I love my job, I love my guys, and I try and tell them all. One program that I wanted to kind of mention to you guys that we started last year was Cookies with a Cop. And so I don't know if any of you had heard that we had started that. I know a few of you did. We got with the upper echelon here with the school system, asked permission to go in and talk with all the 5th graders, just kind of have an opportunity to reach out to them. They're getting ready for that big transition, going from, elementary into middle school. And we just wanted an opportunity to talk to them about that transition, talk to them about some things to just watch out for, choosing good friends, making good choices. And then it also gave an opportunity for us to share a cookie with them, and they can ask us questions, and we gave them answers. We didn't get the opportunity to do every school this past December, but we intend to hit every school this year, and we'll again reach out to organize that particular day that we're going to do that this school year. But so at this time, I'm going to turn it over to the next SRO that's on the list to come up and introduce themselves.
Sergeant Taylor, which school you at?
Oh, thank you. I'm at Westview School.
Westview,
Yeah,
that's what I
thank
thought.
you. Yep, appreciate it.
I'm David Cate. Been with the Washington County Sheriff's Office about 20 years, 18 full-time, 2 years as a reserve. I'm at Daniel Boone High School. I'm a tactical medicine instructor. Been on SWAT for approximately 14 years. I'm about to accomplish my master operator, and I'm also involved with active shooter training. I'm an active shooter instructor. One of the things that we also do in the schools, we do Stop the Bleed program, which I'm sure you all know about. We've pretty much done every school except 4 schools. We go in there and try to teach the teachers and faculty and staff how to stop bleeding if something happens. Because if there's an active shooter situation, we're going to be dealing with that, and they might have to learn how to actually stop the bleeding so they can save people's lives. We teach the teachers and faculty tourniquet training, wound packing, and pressure bandages. We've got, I think, 4 schools that we have to work on to get finished. COVID kind of made it hard for us to do all the schools, but we're working on getting every school, and we're probably going to go back through schools and do more once we get done, just to keep it so everybody's up to date on how to stop bleeding.
Good afternoon, I'm Deputy Cabrera with the Washington County Sheriff's Office. I got a total of 14 years on with the department. Currently assigned to Grandview. I love it, got a vested interest. My daughter goes there. She's present back here. Hello. One of the levels of responsibility that has been bestowed upon me has been the CRACE training, the Civilian Response to Active Shooter event. I've done a couple of classes already, and we're hoping to incorporate that with the Stop the Bleed in conjunction with it. It's a mindset tool to let everyone know that who takes that course that you can also survive a critical event. So we're looking forward to implementing that this coming year. Thank you.
Thank you.
Good evening, I'm Deputy Carroll, Washington County Sheriff's Office. I started my career at Bunker County in Asheville, North Carolina. Did 6 years there, was an SRO for about 2 years. Then I went into the Army, became a military police. I did as a SRO and as a military police for about 4 years. Then I retired in 2017. Came over to Unicoi Sheriff's Department and worked as an SRO over there for about 1.5 years. And then I moved over to Washington County. I'm at Fall Branch right now, and happy to be here. Anything I can do to help, please come out and see my school anytime you want.
Hello, Deputy Brad Stebbin. A lot of y'all know me as Bubba. That's what I've told the kids to call me. Been with the Sheriff's Office 13 years. I'm currently at Sulphur Springs. I really enjoy that. I've worked several divisions within the Sheriff's Office. Detention, support, patrol, now SRO. I have found that I really enjoy being an SRO. That's where I look to try to finish my career. So again, come join us at the school. Y'all welcome anytime y'all want to come down.
And one of my former students.
Yes, ma'am.
I'm Deputy Brandon Cutshaw. I've got about 12 years of law enforcement experience. 7 of that was with Johnson City Police Department. I left there, came to Washington County. Been here for 4 years, been an SRO the entire time. I'm currently assigned to Ridgeview Elementary School. best school in Washington County, don't care what they say. Worst call I know, I will say that. Yeah, you should come by and see it. But like I said, love what I do, love being there with the kids. There's no better job in the world than to be with these kids all day, every day. It's fantastic. One of the leadership roles that was bestowed upon me was the car seat program for the Washington County Sheriff's Department. Before taking it over, we kind of slacked off on it. We only had one certified technician, which was myself. Since taking it over, we have 8 certified technicians. 6 of them are SROs in our schools. So we have coverage across the county to cover anybody that needs help with car seats, properly installed, any questions they have, we're there. So it's expanded a lot, and we're going to hope to continue to expand it to get all the SROs certified to where we can help not only in the schools but also outside with children.
Hello, Deputy Katie Queen. I have been in law enforcement for 5 years. I started as an SRO for Washington County in January. I was recently got the canine position for the kinetic explosive detection dog. So this is Baloo. He is able to navigate through large crowds. He's the only one in the state of Tennessee that can do the kinetic work. He's able to navigate through large crowds, and he's trained on 12 different odors. So smokeless powder is one of those odors, which is what is found in firearms. So he is able to actually navigate through the crowds and pick up on that odor and then lead me to the source of that odor. It is unique. He's the only one in Tennessee, like I said. So we'll be floating between the 2 high schools for now. Hopefully the goal is to get another one to have in both high schools. So today was his first day. He's pretty excited. There was a lot of kids turning heads and whispering, and he was checking all the lockers and everything. Yeah, so it's very exciting for the canine unit. We have a total of 9 canines right now. 4 that work patrol, which are dual purpose dogs, apprehension narcotics. He's unique, like I said. He does the kinetic explosives and firearms. And then we have the 3 ambassador dogs, and they'll be introduced here in a second.
What is that dog breed?
He's a 2.5-year-old German short-haired pointer from Serbia who is crazy about his ball.
Which high schools are you?
I'll be at, I was at Daniel Boone today, and I'll be going between Crockett and Daniel Boone.
Okay. That's the
Yeah, sporadically. No pattern by any means. So look forward to it. Thank you all.
Thank you.
All right, Big Moose. Good with those. Oh, God.
He goes nuts in here because he smells everybody's guns.
Hello, my name is Michael McPeak, and this is Canine Phoenix. Canine Phoenix is a little excited. She's like a toddler on meth today. She's a very playful dog. I've been in law enforcement for 21 years. 13 of those years I've been in canine with another agency. I've been with the Sheriff's Department for going on 6 years now as an SRO. I am at Jonesboro and absolutely love the school and love staff and students. So we're working with Canine Phoenix for narcotics. She is a German Shepherd, and she was one of our dogs that was donated. So, and that's her sister, Rhonda. So we miss each other.
Thank you.
This is Karma. Everybody knows what Karma does, right? Yeah. I'm Deputy Terry Gregg, been in Washington County 25 years.
Worked 11.5 years in the jail, 5 years on the warrants division, 5 years on patrol. This is my 5th year as SRO. This is Karma. She's 22 months old. She is a lone-legged Chihuahua. So she is a Shepherd Mallee mix. She is currently going through the narcotics training as well as Phoenix. I'm at Boone Creek Elementary School. Most of you know me. If you don't, you probably will before the day's over. I love what I do. It's a passion, and I love it.
My name is Deputy Andrew Edwards. I'm currently the SRO at South Central Elementary School down in 107. This is my canine Daisy. She's a German Shepherd. She's 4 months old. She's one of our ambassador dogs. We're still waiting to see what they decide what she'll hold aptitude for to go off to train for her. Been law enforcement. This started my 7th year. This is starting my 4th year as SRO. But it's my 4th year as SRO. Started doing that 3 years ago in Unicoi County. Got called to come over to be SRO in Washington County and accepted it, and I've loved it ever since. It's actually part of the school. My wife and kids are here. My youngest one's the one that actually helped with the pledge earlier. So, but proud to have them here with me tonight. I've been asked to talk about the LEAD program. I actually was certified as an instructor back in 2021 when I went to the NASRO conference. Got to teach the full K through 6 at the school I was at in Unicoi County. Really loved it. Blessed to have the program starting over here. We're currently working with the Inside Alliance to get us some supplies to start teaching. Our game plan is to be starting this program into the 5th grade this year. Hopefully going to start the week of September if everything goes good. Sit down here. Tell she's a pup. But this program is really good. It teaches kids a lot of life skills, a lot of things to help them out after they get out of school. It's got stuff like anger management, dealing with emotions, things teaching kids how to make be good friends, making good decisions, what a consequence is. A lot of stuff it's hard on educators to really teach it to nowadays due to how much stuff is placed on them in the school systems. But the Too Good for Drugs program is the one we're going to be teaching for sure. It teaches them about what kind of drugs are good, bad, how to take them properly. A lot of really good stuff. And when I taught it with the kids over in Unicoi, they all really accepted it a lot. They took it in, and I've still got kids now with my Cub Scout troop over there that still remember a lot of stuff that they learned even today. So, but I'm looking forward to having the program come in and looking forward to being a canine with Washington County.
Thank you. I need to go start looking in Unicoi County, I guess.
Hello, I'm Adam Edens. I've just recently been moved to grade school as an SRO. I spent about 5 years in law enforcement. I spent 2 in Jonesboro before I came to Washington County. I'm day 4 as an SRO, so I'm still trying to figure everything out and getting to know everybody. Everybody's been really disappointed to see me at Gray because I don't have a dog. Everybody's been great there. The administration's been very helpful, and I'm looking forward to what I can accomplish as an SRO.
Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. Before I introduce myself, I just want to say that it was a breath of fresh air that you, school board, bow your heads to the Lord and give him honor. Where I'm from, so my name is Jake Yanchishin from the state of New Jersey, born and raised in New Jersey. My whole life, I did 25 years in the Cherry Hill Police Department. Prior to that, I was in the Marine Corps. On the police department, I did 10 years on the SWAT team. Prior to retirement, I was in the evidence division. As soon as I got married, we agreed that we have 3 little kids, and we wanted to move down here to the state of Tennessee, just for that mere fact that you guys still acknowledge the good Lord in New Jersey. They don't do that in the schools, so that was refreshing. But it's great to be hired with a great bunch of people, and looking forward to meeting all of you guys. So if you have any questions, let me know.
Where did you say?
Thanks.
What school you at?
What school?
I'm going to be at Lamar.
Lamar.
Yes, sir.
Thank you.
Hi guys, most of y'all know me, I'm Alan Schaefer. I've been with the Sheriff's Department for 20 years. I've been an SRO for 12, and I've been at Crockett for 11 of those 12 years. It's a great school, like Andreas. I've had 2 boys graduate from Crockett. They play football for Coach Green. My daughter's a junior there now. She plays basketball and soccer, and I'm glad to be there. Go Pioneers.
Well, after all that, I kind of feel like Russell Crowe and Gladiator. Are you not entertained? You know, we've got a great bunch of guys here. My name's Lieutenant Kevin Sanders. And I'll tell you what, Mr. Boyd said it when he came in, when we were on the hallway. This building is protected. Well, as of this year, every school has an SRO, and that's included. Special thanks to Major, Sheriff Sexton, and Mr. Boyd, because with all y'all's support, we were able to make that happen, and we're continuing to grow it. You know, over the summer we had Champ Camp. That was something that we made available for the students of Washington County. They were able to come have fun with us for the day, all our divisions, all our toys, stuff like that. So they were able to get back involved with some kids from school. Something else we're also doing is a distracted driving program. So during the school pickup and drop-off times, we are saturating a specific school zone, looking for people on phones, speeding. And so, you know, we're not doing it to write tickets, we're doing it to bring awareness. So, you know, those are just some of the things we're trying to stay actively involved. Got a great bunch of guys and gal here. We are here to help out in any way we can. The Nashville shooting, that shooter went past the school that was prepared, and we hope that we are preparing our schools for that. It's a shame we've come to that, but here we are, and I think our county is really prepared for it. So if y'all need anything from us, feel free to reach out to Sergeant Taylor, myself, Major, Sheriff himself, and we'd be glad to provide it.
Thank you.
Thank you. We're definitely blessed, but
Yes.
I know Brandon said that he is the, that best school, but honestly, being a parent, with kids in the school system, I know when I drop mine off every day, it's a safe place.
We just appreciate your dedication.
Yeah.
Thank you so
Really means a
much.
lot.
Thank you all for all you do.
Good to see you. So, mind you didn't want to give a speech tonight? Oh, I'm sorry, Major.
Still, we have one that's road between the two icebergs. That's what they have.
Where did she say she was? She was at school. Oh, she goes to Burke.
Trying to build towards next year with the second retirement. We got one of
So that
And two, I do want to recognize one of us, while we're on the sheriff's agenda, we have a board member that made lieutenant from sergeant. Just want to congratulate you publicly, and we appreciate your service here and what you do for us. Okay, next on our agenda is our camp presentation and summer school program video. I think Mr. Boyd said Ms. Cindy Hayes would start that discussion or presentation, and we welcome you to our board meeting, Ms. Hayes.
Before we show the video, I'd just like to share something with you and introduce you to some special people. little less than 2 weeks ago, July 17th was the first day of our first ever Rising Freshman AMP Camp. And I was sitting there, one group showed up at David Crockett State Park while the other group started at Warriors. I was waiting for the bus to come at the David Crockett State Park. And I sit there and I watch the bus unload with all these rising freshmen. And I looked, and the first thought, I watched the body language. Down through slumped shoulders, hands clasped, nerves, some walking by themselves, some not sure what to do or where to go. And my first instinct was, oh no, they're not going to have fun. And then I realized, Cindy, that's what this camp's all about. It's for them to make new friends and to build relationships. By lunchtime, they were laughing, they had made new friends, they were high-fiving, they were standing on picnic tables, maybe I shouldn't say that, and through a bullhorn, cheering each other on. That was day one. And you're going to see here in just a few minutes what the day 2, day 3, day 4, and day 5 consisted of. But we watched them grow as young adults and grow as a cohort, and knew that that first day at their high school would be just a little bit easier because of the Rising Freshman Camp. I would like to start first and ask Brandon McKee, Cassie Bristol, and Tim Anderson. Come on up here. They don't bite, I promise. We couldn't have done it starting with these 3 leaders. Cassie was the leader at Daniel Boone High School. Tim was the leader at David Crockett. And of course, you know, Brandon McKee and then Dr. Jeff Gray helped us all work this through the district. And I want everyone else to come and stand behind them. And they're just going to share briefly with you some of their experiences with the camp, and then we'll show the video afterwards. But thank you for supporting us with this camp.
All right. Well, thanks for having us. We appreciate it. This was a great opportunity, not only for our freshmen, but it's a great opportunity for our seniors that were coming in to help with this, our young adult leaders that came and dedicated their time to the training at ETSU with us, which was a great way to start off our relationship with one another, because we had to work together in order to make this thing successful. The outstanding thing about this, as Ms. Hayes had mentioned, is to watch these kids grow together over the course of just a week. I recall, you know, on a Tuesday we had a dance party. And as simple as that sounded, we had a schedule for 10 minutes, we ended up going for 30, because they are all on the little theater stage, they're talking, they're having a good time, and just interacting with one another. And that was the goal of what we wanted to accomplish. It wasn't just the kids that had a good time. I received several band messages from parents thanking the school system, thanking the workers for just hosting this, because it made their child feel more comfortable on that first day of school. As a 9th grade teacher, those first 2 weeks are usually pretty quiet. Not this year. The kids that were in this AMP program that know each other, that are in my class, were ready to go. So I think it was a great benefit to these kids, and I'm interested to see, you know, how they progress through their high school career and what kind of benefits this has.
To kind of piggyback on what Tim said, to watch the students, one of the days they went to Pathfinders for a field trip. And we had a couple of kids that had a hard time getting up the hill. Well, I was in the back because I myself was having a hard time to get up the hill. So that kind of gave me a little push, because I was like, okay, these kids, obviously, they need some oomph. So when we finally made it up to the top of the hill, they were like, I just can't do this. Like, I'm not built for this. And so we had a couple of girls the day before that had trouble just making it through the day. And so I went to her and I said, I need you. I know you're an extrovert. You're playing an introvert. And she just started laughing. And I said, I need you to be the leader that I know you are, and I need you to help these other girls. And she said, oh, I can do that. And just to see her come out of her shell, brought the other girls out of their shell. And by the end of the day, it didn't matter. They were all trying. They were all giving it 100%. And I just feel like this program brought, from day 1 to day 3, roughly, it took only about 3 days to get every single kid moving and to make relationships. And they built friendships, not with just themselves, but with the young adults and with the high school students and with us teachers. So I feel like, why haven't we done this before? It's to that capacity, because I feel like the kids gained so much from this. And on the last day, I asked them if they thought this was beneficial, and they said yes. And I said, okay, so we're going to do it again with next year's freshmen. And they said no. And I was like, what are you talking about? And they said, no, we want to come back. We can just do it every year. And I was like, you're missing the point. Like, the point is this gets freshmen acclimated. So I think it's a great thing, and I think that the people behind us, they knocked it out of the park. Thank you.
So I had the opportunity to see how AMP has impacted both Crockett and Boone, because I'd go to Crockett, since I'm 5 minutes over there, go check that out. Then I'd head over to Boone and check how it was going over at Boone. And both schools, the freshmen were all excited. And you can tell there was a difference from the beginning of the week to the end of the week. So I think it was a great success. We went to Wetlands on Friday night. They loved it. They had a good time. I can speak that Mr. Malone here came out of his shell even more and had a great time and got his whole group and probably all of Crockett amped up all the way. So thank you. But yes, it has made a great impact, especially on day 1 at Boone. I can say that all the freshmen pretty much, they could find a friend at least that they knew their way around the school. They were talking about it, even the students that wish they could have came, but they were on vacation. So it was a great success, and it's all because of you all. The students that worked, if you were a student at Boone, raise your hand. They put a lot of hard work into that whole week, and they wore their shirts day 1, so freshmen knew who to go to if they needed any help. Our young adult workers, we've they put in a lot of hard work as well, trying to just give them advice, life advice, and our teachers. They were awesome. So I can't say that.
Thank y'all. I know it's a big hit. Heard a lot of good things.
How many participated from both schools altogether?
It was.
We had about 60 at Crockett.
We had about 80 some at Boone.
That's great.
Is that a third?
It's about a third. We had 104, I think, registered, and of the 104, we had about 88, 89 show up. So, and we only lost 3 because of other things. But the crazy thing is they wanted to come, so they came for the 1 or 2 days that they could. So I thought that was pretty good. Yeah.
Well, thank you all.
Introduce yourself. We want to hear a little bit of what you all think about it.
Go ahead. Hi, my name is Sophie McCorkle. I am a senior at David Crockett High School.
My name is Ethan Malone. As Mr. McKee's told us, I kind of helped everybody amp up. I'm also a freshman, so I loved AMP. And I want to thank every single one of y'all for sponsoring it. It helped me break out of my comfort zone, and it helped me put trust and be able to trust myself to where I'm way more prepared for high school than I was in the entire summer. I just want to thank all of y'all for sponsoring that. That meant a lot to me, so thank you.
Can you say exactly what you did to amp up?
I don't want to hear that.
I'm Emery Silke. I'm going into my junior year at Boone. In my group, I had one girl who was homeschooled. I had a couple extroverts and a good bit of introverts within my group. And throughout the whole week, I could see all of them growing, coming out of their shell. Like my homeschool kid literally was the most active in the group. And she turned out she was basically leading the group, which was really funny to see. And one of our most introverted decided to come out of her shell. And now my whole group, I see them in the hallways together talking. So.
Hey, I'm Allie Johnson. You all see my face way too much here, but hang on. So I'm going into my senior year at Boone, and this meant a lot to me because I didn't have anything my freshman year. My first day of school was sitting at my desk on a computer. So honestly, it's like I'm living vicariously through these kids. It was awesome, and I actually talked to Emery a lot because we're both key football officers together. And we walk around and we're like, oh my God, those are my kids. And I'm like, oh, they're like 3 years younger than me. But like, and just they all had their amp shirts on, and they were helping their friends, like take them to their classes, and they were the ones making friends with everybody. But also like just the bonds that they made together and with like us, I think was like the most important because they'd see me in the hallways and be like, oh gosh, hi, Allie. I'm like, are you doing okay? And they're like, we're doing great. And it just meant like, it almost felt like rewarding for me because you're like, you did your job. So it meant a lot, I know, to me, just to get to see them have that experience and how much fun they had, but also to them to just make, I think this is the greatest thing we've ever done for them at all. So thank you all so much.
Just to add something to this, they had a Fun Fest day, Key Club sponsored.
Yes.
This past Saturday. And some of the freshmen that were
almost every single one of them. Like, so Key Club is like, community service organization. I'm the president over at Boone. And so a lot of these kids got to find out. Mr. McKee's been really great helping us get the word out there, but they came back because they were excited because we had our little club fair during AMP. And like I said, they got to hear about it and they came back and they were like, I love that we could do all these fun things. Like I had a kid named Noah. Oh my Lord, love Noah. And he came back to me and he was like, this is so fun. Like, why don't they do this for all the grades? And I was like, because you guys are just cooler. But they all, AMP was a way to get connected to their school and to other clubs and organizations. And so they got to have other opportunities as well, not just for the school, but for other things. And it was really great. And I think it helped us a lot to get them to be more involved. So thank you all so much.
Hey everyone, I'm Lady Music. I am on full-time Young Life staff. I'm switching over to the dark side. I'm going to Kingsport now instead of Washington County. But I got to be a young adult leader for AMP. And just in my job with Young Life, I know how important it is to grab a kid by the hand and pull them along with you, and just like share those moments with them and be with the kids that are super outgoing like Ethan and being with the kids that are super introverted like some kids I know that were so yeah, it's just really special. It's a really great experience. And I'm just really, honestly, I'm proud of Ethan, but I'm also really proud of the high school leaders because they kind of got to experience what it's like to pull a kid along with them and be a friend to them whenever the freshmen roll in. So thank you guys for letting us happen.
I'm Mary Bowden. I teach freshmen at Boone, and I was involved in the AMP program. And as a teacher of freshmen, I saw yesterday and today a lot of students, they knew who some of their teachers were. I have several that I have in class now that I met a couple of weeks ago with AMP, and I can see kids who didn't know each other, who've come from different backgrounds, talking to each other and sitting beside each other in class, and they just have a little bit more confidence. They knew, some of their teachers coming in, the ones that come in and they're like, oh, I remember you. And so they're just a little bit more comfortable. They got to meet us as a freshman teacher in a more fun atmosphere than Algebra 1 tends to be. So they know it's okay to smile, even if it's Algebra 1. So I appreciated the opportunity to participate in it. I thought it was a great program that should definitely continue.
Thank you. I am Dr. Mandy Smith, and I'm a special educator at David Crockett. Just to kind of piggyback from what everyone has said, this was such a great opportunity for all levels of our students to come together. They developed some great relationships, but I think one of the most important things that we did over this past week for the students and the faculty alike, we challenged how they thought, we developed how they thought,
we kind of taught them and let them learn how to think through things, but I think one of the most important things we did, they also learned to think with their heart. So I think these relationships that they built, the confidence that they gained, it's unbelievable. So it was an excellent experience.
Thank you all, do great teamwork. We appreciate, our educators involved and then our students and you sharing the voice and your experience and those of your peers. I just want to commend everyone that worked on it, from student to educator, and we look forward to next year and next year's rising ninth graders.
I hope that there's plans for some of the kids that went through to return to their school to meet with the upcoming 8th graders to let them know what a great experience it was, plus the video and to show it to them. I'm sure you're probably already thinking of that already, but that just crossed my mind when I heard all the great things that you did. And I'll bet you get a far better attendance next year after doing that.
Yeah.
Ms. Walters.
It's wonderful to see that we have known in history what has worked, and we are reverting back to it. It's love, kindness, faith in each other, showing each other how to do things, mentoring each other. Take what works and run with it. I'm proud of each and every one of you.
So here we can see the video.
Thank you all again for the hard work and the dedication you put in. It really shows what you can do when you set your mind to it. We do appreciate it. Okay, on our next agenda, next is our Bush group, Paul and oh, okay. We got a summer school videologist. Sorry.
Just thought.
It's gonna take two of you, and it's a pretty good distance, so I'm gonna help you. We have touch, we have sight, we have smell.
That means we have you now. That's some school this year.
Cindy, you had the total?
Yes, you can think. I've looked at a lot of numbers since then. I think it was around 250, 300, because it was just, we really focused on high priority kids this year, so that was it sounds like a decrease, it is a decrease in numbers, but our main focus was high priority students.
That's right.
It's great.
And I do want to publicly thank Ms. Hayes for her hard work again. I know how she handled our third grade detention, and the leadership is more highly above and beyond what we expect. So thank you very much. Okay, now Paul and Todd from the first group, your associates, we'll turn it over to you.
That.
Boy, y'all got big shoes to fill.
I know, right? I mean, thanks a lot.
And they don't even have a pet.
I told them, I said, if we'd have brought some pets, some ice cream or something, maybe we could remember that next time. I do it, right? What kind? No. Yeah, I'm usually here about once a month, right? No, thanks for having us. I just want to take a minute real quick, and we have a team member that's with us tonight that you probably haven't seen before. Her name is Elizabeth Walker. She is an architectural intern with us this summer. Her last day is actually coming up
Next week, Friday.
Next Friday, yeah. So, but she's been with us all summer, and she graduated from UT with her interior architecture degree, and she's going to pursue a master's in architecture at Georgia Tech, starting this fall. So, but we wanted to bring her with us tonight because, as you'll get to see here shortly, she has been involved in this project and has some nice pictures to show you all and share with you all. And but I just wanted to introduce her. We said, come on along with us tonight and meet the board and see what it's like to go on a presentation like this. So with that, I think Ginger's got she's going to start out with security, right?
Yes.
All right, so start out with security, athletics, and the culinary as well. So that's our agenda for you, okay?
We just wanted to come back and give you a little update on what we have been doing on Washington County security upgrades. There has been a lot of work done. Dr. Adams and Mr. Boyd have been very helpful through this whole process, and Dr. Adams has helped us be a liaison between what we needed to do, the board, and the principals of each school. So it's been really great working with you guys. If you want to start that first PDF under Washington County folder. we have, we brought just a few drawings to show you what we have been doing with, it's all CDs, that's number one, zero one security. And it's all construction documents, so it'll be more of the technical stuff where we have demolition plans and floor plans. But part of the conversation that we're trying to do is create a standard for the admin area and the things that we're putting in, so that if there's any issues in the future or you need to change any of the finishes, the school has already a standard for Washington County for all of the schools. So you have like the same vinyl tile, or you have the same type of ceiling, or the colors, the paint. So we're working together so that we can develop that for you guys. So if you could go to the next page. Boone is a little critical because last time we were here, you start seeing some of the lines, the places where we're changing some of the things. On Boone, the one thing that has changed since we were here last time is that we were trying to do a main entrance, but at the same time we were investigating what was going to happen with that school, what are the developments are going to happen at Boone, if that it's going to be our main entrance or not. So since that is still out there, what we decided to do is a bit of a compromise, something that works with if we decide that this is going to be our main entrance, or if we decide that we're going to have an addition later. So if you go one more, past one. So you start seeing what we have developed. It's not a tower. What we're doing is just following the existing ceiling and turning over to create a facade or a face. Those are not necessarily the finishes that we're picking, but at least we're staying away from the existing structure. So we're not messing with the existing roof or any of the structure. That way it's a good compromise. It's still visible as a main entrance. And it gives you a surface to put a canopy in the future if you'd like, or create a more grandiose type of entrance. But I think it's a good compromise for not messing with is existing and what we're going to do in the future. And then you can start seeing sort of the finishes of the cabinetry and the millwork. We're trying to develop a standard entrance, the admin area, with the kind of cabinetry that we're going to put, kind of finishes, so that, again, it's all the same for all the schools. And I would think that it would make it easier on your staff also to make those changes if need be. So, if, you know, for the materials and all that. So you can go through those pictures and we can show a little bit just the progress of what that is. And we have been working with our engineers, are working hard on all this. That's Ridgeview, which is still pretty much the same idea of continuing that same elevation and that same facade. And again, the main thing with this is trying not to interfere with what is existing and trying to take care of security at the same time. So just wanted to give you an update on that.
So these are construction documents ready to roll out for bid now?
So we have, and we're gonna talk a little bit about those things, but we do have, these are construction documents already, but it's not an entire package. You know, we still have our mechanical, electrical, plumbing, which they are working on that. We also have contacted Mark Counts, which is the contact person that was given to us for the camera system, and Curtis Fulbright is working with him too. So he's been helping out with that. They have floor plans and they're overseeing all that. So we've been in contact with everybody.
So you'll go over it here in a little bit?
Yes.
Kind of what the time, okay.
Yes, on both projects,
Yeah,
athletics
try not to
and
get
security. Yes, I promise we have that for you.
Do we have access to look at those?
We can leave those here. We can give you like the full package if you'd like. We could give you those.
If you send it to Jennifer, then she can put it in BOE for us, that'd be great.
Okay, yeah. We can do that. Okay, and that's all I had for now on security. And Paul, if you want to talk about athletics now? Yeah. And I'll go ahead and jump in.
Hello. So if you want to go to the next slide. Or another. So, you know, we're developing the construction documents, obviously, and as Ginger said, we'll talk schedule for all these here. We'll let Todd do that. Talk about schedule, but we wanted to show some images, and again, these are some things that Elizabeth has been helping us with. So this is obviously Boone. Let me just preface this by saying, you know, you're going to see images from both schools, we had, kind of starting with Boone, we're a little ahead on Boone, so you'll see some for Crockett, and we're going to finish the ones on Crockett, and then we're going to share, we'll just share all these, you know, here in the coming days, and probably before Elizabeth gets away from us. So next week, as sort of a full package for both of the athletics improvements for both schools. So this is kind of an overview of sort of what that promenade is looking like. This is a perspective view of sort of the backside. You see the back of the press box. There's still some branding, some things we're working through, but you start seeing how the structures underneath interface with the bleacher system. This is from the field side. So again, this is all based on sort of Revit models that we built from the Southern Bleacher prefab, but there's a ton of options, right? So we're working through, and of course that's the press box. You have the back seating there in the middle, and what else? I mean, so this is another view, sort of looking down. Go ahead and advance it there to that. Yeah. So this is the view. So there's sort of some brand. We're taking some opportunities for some branding and color for each of the schools. You know, so emphasizing a lot of the red here, and then kind of a dusk shot, and then going to Crockett. So Crockett, incorporating kind of the browns, blacks, and the golds there in the stadium for Crockett. So the seating for the gold in the middle section there. Where's our capacity for the seating? It's still around that. Talking about the 2,300, right? Or
Yes.
is that where we're?
Yes, we're exactly, both schools about the same and almost exactly the same. And the telescopic seating is almost about exactly the same, actually, yeah.
For the seats, yeah. So, right, and we talked before, you know, that middle section, because the treads are a little deeper there to accommodate the seats, you know, it reduced that slightly, but we're still kind of in that range of the 230.
Yes.
I mean, 2,300, I'm sorry.
2,300.
And then I think we're at 200. How many seats? 254? Something like 254 for the, so that can change. We can back off of that. We can add. I mean, obviously we haven't, where we're at now, we haven't filled out that full section. So we could fill those out, or, you know, if we don't need as many, we could reduce that. So we'll get details like that tweaked before we go to bid. But with that, you want to jump in here and talk schedule as well?
That would be the next PDF, number 3 has the.
These graphics are impressive.
Thank
I
you.
love those.
There's no way we could, may not be feasible, but take the press box up to where we could use it for baseball.
Well, so.
Is that something that
we're
could or could not do?
So we have gotten that suggestion, and we still plan to do that with Boone.
Because we had to tear the other one down, it was falling down.
Yeah.
We don't have a press box, so I didn't know if his location may not work, or, I was just more curious than anything.
Yeah. I mean, for me personally, I still have some concerns just because of the distance, right? And anyway.
We talked about potential filming from that deck.
Well, right.
Being able to film.
Right, and I think you're definitely in close enough proximity there, you know, and you're going to have ability to film for sure from that crow's nest for football, baseball, and, you know, everything. So
if it's a cost issue, we could cut the seats at Crockett.
That's one of my things. That's all I have.
Right now they are, you know, everything. So the way we fit this, it's been a really interesting process, and you heard me say this probably last time. You know, you start with this kind of big idea, right? And both schools kind of lent themselves to sort of, you know, we kind of want to create this. We like this idea of creating this sort of athletics park almost, you know, this athletics complex. And, you know, the proximity of all those fields at both schools really kind of lend themselves to that. You know, I mean, there's other schools where as you all know, the football field's over here, the baseball field's way over here, and you really can't kind of pull it all together like this. So what you had to begin with, was a good start. So what we were able to do is just by creating that pedestrian way, and then you could share a lot of those kind of uses along that, and concessions and restrooms and that kind of thing. I think it really knits the whole thing together, and we're really excited about it. I think it's really going to be a really, it's going to be one of the best two of the best athletic complexes, in East Tennessee.
So does both, like you could see the back, where they enter through the back of the stadium, does both of those do that, both Crockett and Boone, do they enter from the back?
So back and the sides, if you want to go, if you want to go back to some of those even
Because what
images.
changes on the schools, even though we tried very hard to make sure that it was equal and they both had equal opportunities for branding, for everything, the only thing that changes is the grading and the site conditions.
Right.
So because of that, on Boone, you get to be on top of the bleachers and walk out directly from the dormitories into the concessions area, into that plaza. So we're trying to do the same thing at Crockett, but you still have to ramp down or step down from the dormitory. So
I was looking at the handicap areas and stuff, and I was trying to figure out if that's how you went into both, but when you back up, you can see the ramp on the side.
So go one more slide.
Yeah, so combination of things, all of these are maybe
There's a
even.
ramp right there.
Yeah. See, the thing of Boone.
That ramp goes into the.
That ramp goes into the plaza, and then that plaza is level with the bleachers.
Yeah.
But you can also use the sides.
So the entrance to the field will be the two galleys inside. the
Yeah,
facility.
remember the term vomitories, right?
Right.
I caught a lot of flack for that. But there's two
I thought
vomitories that
somebody
cut through,
said the first time.
they cut through in the two places, so, let's see, I can point to. This is concessions here, and then that's a vomitory, and there's one, they're balanced, kind of, call them third points, and then you have the ends that have ADA accessible
So both,
ramps as
and
well.
both stadiums work like that?
Yes.
You guys have
Yeah.
that entrance there and this way?
That's right.
Yeah.
That's right. Yeah, the overview, yeah, you can see the, on the.
Yes, I got those, but then whenever I didn't see,
Go to the side picture, I think there was one.
Yeah, the side picture shows.
There you go, right
Yeah,
there.
okay.
There's a ramp there as well, so.
So on each side, you have that same situation, the steps and the ramp, the same thing at Crocker, on both sides, you have the same.
so the follow-up question for that is when you go in the vomitory areas, is there handicap seatings there?
Yes.
Or is?
So the way these are set up is you're 4 feet high. When you go up these ramps, you're a 4 feet higher than the field level.
Correct.
So that's where the bulk of your handicap seating is going to be, and they're already elevated, so they can, they're not trying to look through people, they're up above and can.
So when you use the ramp, is there seatings there or?
It's directly right on the first aisle, so out of the 2,300, I think there's about 30 or 40 that are at ADA, and they're right at the beginning, right there on the front.
And they're two different places, so they're up higher or right in the front?
No, there isn't any higher. They're right on the first row of seats.
That 4 feet up.
Yeah.
So whether you go in this way or go in the other way, they're all right?
Yeah, they all, I understand what you're asking now. They're just strung along the front, the whole length, basically that 300 feet. Or so less than 300.
And we did the same thing with the facilities, not only restrooms, but we also incorporated a family bathroom, and we have ADA accessible toilets too. On both schools, same number, same accessibility in both schools.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah, you can upgrade. Yeah, so I guess full circle back to, the thing I was saying was that, you start with kind of this big idea of sort of this promenade, you're doing the same thing at both schools, but, the sites are different, the grading is different, so you have different challenges. With Boone, it's like you have that front to back, and you all know, you've been there, from sort of the baseball field level, and then there's a lot of grade difference, so that's where we had to make up sort of that split kind of two-level pedestrian way. And then at Crockett, it's really easier when you get down there, but when you come in off the main parking lot at Crockett, that's where you have to descend in the grade to kind of get down to that level. So, every project has their own challenges, but they're taking the same main idea and fitting it to the specific site. So I think they're going along really well. And with that,
Yeah, well,
talk schedule.
as far as the schedule is concerned, I think we're still on track with what we have been talking about for the past several months. And with the athletics going to bid 1st September, and bids being due, we give the contractors 30 days to look at it and come back with a number, open bids around the 1st of October. Have a board meeting thereafter to make a selection, gives us 30 days to talk about if there's, evaluate that bid, and if there's any, hopefully no VE items or anything like that, but if there is, we can talk about some things like that, and then mobilize on November 1, or whenever that last day of football season is, right? So it's all about hitting and being mobilized and ready to go right at the end of the football season. And so that's kind of the schedule for athletics. And then we put security a couple of weeks behind that several months ago, just because it's hard when you have consultants working, and everybody's busy right now. Our engineers are busy, we're busy, everybody's busy, but also just to fall behind that so that we're not directly on top of each other. Security's running about 2 weeks behind that. So just as the schedule says here, we'll go to bid about mid-September, and then 30 days. I want to go to bed right now, but and then 30 days after that, we're looking at bids due in around the middle of October, and then what we'll have to do is when we get the bids on security. That's the thing about security, that we'll have to have a talk at some point in the future. When we get the bids back on security, then we're going to have to sit down and talk with our contractor, talk with the board, and talk about which ones and when do those take place, right? Because all of them are a little bit different. Every one of them is a little bit different. And we have to talk about how do we, begin the process of implementing those projects, each of those. Some are easier than others, right? And so if we're going to be working right in the front door, then we've got to make a concession with how do we enter that building and that kind of thing. So we'll have to have some talks about how we're going to phase that throughout the coming year after we accept that bid.
Also, to that point, we have 2 of the schools that are alternates. So if that's gonna work with your staff to work on doing those changes or not, if you have the manpower or the time, or if we can contract it, out of the 11 schools, we have those 2 options that are small in work. So that's something we need to discuss.
Awesome.
Will there be in the athletics bid, within the bid, a completion date requirement?
Yes.
Yeah, absolutely.
What, is there I don't know if you can do it or not, is there a penalty for not making dates?
Liquidated damages, we can, and I think realistically, a lot of times we'll deal with liquidated damages, and it's just sort of, whether it's like $500 a day or $1,000 a day or whatever, but you could probably prove kind of some actual financial damages, right? With revenue not generated by having your home games there, so I think that's probably within the month, probably conversations we all need to have, to what should that number be? But yes, we should put liquidated damages in there and it needs to be more than a slap on the wrist, or it won't really mean anything to them. So.
Yeah, we want to get their attention and not have room for coasting.
Well, it's the lowest and most responsive bid as well. And so the evaluation of those bids are going to be important as well.
And we've already been talking to some contractors. We're going to continue to do that. We want to get as many right-sized contractors, not huge guys that have, these are going to be good projects for a contractor, but, we don't want really big contractors that have a lot of overhead that they're going to bring, we just got to get those right-sized, and we certainly, I think they're big enough where we can get contractors all the way from Knoxville to Johnson City, Kingsport, right, kind of this whole corridor through here. So I'm hopeful. I won't lie to you. We've had some pretty decent projects, that have gone out to bid, and we end up still with 1 or 2 bidders, So we just need to get the word out. I think, anybody you guys know and want us to reach out to, let us kind of vet them and reach out to them as well, because we create some competition, and not just among anybody, but competition among really good qualified contractors, then you're going to get your best product.
That's the one thing, if there was something to be concerned about, it would be about the number of bidders that we would have. Now, what Paul's talking about, where we've not had that many bidders, it's been, tends to be more in a more rural area. And so we would expect, hopefully, we won't run into that as much here, because you all are very obviously accessible. So, you know, but I mean, there's a lot of contractors busy right now.
A lot of work out there.
There's a lot of work out there right now. And so, you know, the more that we can get the word out and let people know right now that, and we, like Paul said, we've already talked to some, but the more we can let people know, the better.
But even to your point, even these jobs that we've recently bid, you know, contractors that we reached out to, we have good relationships with, and, you know, they tell me we would really like to bid that, but we don't have a superintendent we can put on that, or, you know, whatever. So it's just, again, everybody being.
Well, say if we get one bid, and do we take it? Do we accept it?
What's the price of that?
Yeah, I think it really.
I mean, that's what I'm saying.
Yeah.
What is the price of that bid? Yeah. And will you all know roughly what we think it's gonna spend, what we're planning on spending?
Are y'all still pretty comfortable with the number you kind of guesstimate?
We were talking about that today. I'm still pretty comfortable with it, you know, and I don't really want to go on, these days, I don't want to go on record too much with that, because it's all over the place. But I feel if we get some good competitive bids, I think we'll be in that range.
Well, going back to what Keith said, that would give you more of an idea where that bid come in.
Yeah, it's just evaluating that bid. I mean, if we think that project is $3 million, I'm just gonna throw it, $3 million, and it comes in $3.8 million, and it's one bid. And it may not be that, but if it comes in at 5.6 million, then maybe they got wind that they were the only bidder. I mean, I don't know, right? So, we're just gonna.
That's what I'm asking you all.
Yeah.
We're trusting your all's judgment. You know, I'm not.
Yeah, sure, I understand.
Yeah, well, y'all do this every day, you can pretty well take it.
Looking forward to it.
You can tell when something smells a little fishy, right?
Yeah, that's I think you just put it the right way. Yeah.
Knowing there's not much work, I mean, knowing there's a lot of work out there, and that's what's.
Oh, I agree with that.
So other things relative to the schedule, you know, one thing, give us a little break on the schedule too, and I'm pretty sure Ginger had communicated this to Dr. Adams and Mr. Boyd, but, you know, we'd had a few conversations with one of the state fire marshals, and, you know, we had always been talking about this, but he came back and said he checked with one of his supervisors, and because it's not specifically a Group E educational occupancy, even though it's at a school, state fire marshal doesn't review it. So not only will you save that time, but, you know, that's pretty hefty. Their review fees are pretty hefty, so that's money that you don't have to spend too. So that's good. I mean, I was kind of surprised, you know, I thought because it was part of an educational facility that we would have to, it'd have to be reviewed, but I think that's great news.
You do have that name.
Yeah, we do.
We did say that on our PDF. We also have the responsibility of architects to do a good job, so don't worry.
Yeah, I mean, we're not gonna skirt any, right? I mean, you know, we're still, and part of that conversation we had with them early on, and you all know this goes way back, about having to beat the plumbing count, right? Which would have ended up being 29 female and 16 male, is that the numbers?
Can't remember anymore.
And, you know, we don't have near that many, but we have a whole lot more than what you currently have at both high schools.
I mean, we're very close. We're
Yeah.
at 22 and, can't remember, but we're very close.
11 or 12
Yeah.
male, So anyway, but that was one of the main things we wanted to talk with them about, getting that variance, you know, and getting, you know, because it just doesn't make sense at a point, right? I mean, but, so we had that conversation with them, but then he came back and said, well, we don't even have to review this. So,
If you will, send us this one too, on the safety, and to Jennifer.
Yep.
So we can have a copy of it, please.
you want the renderings as well.
That'd be great, yeah.
Sure.
So we'd like to go ahead and finish some stuff up, and by next week, we're gonna go ahead and send you, if you'll want, instead of PDFs, we can send you the JPEGs, so that if you wanna post it somewhere or print it.
That'd be great.
Oh, I know, we'd love to see it, some of our stakeholders.
I think it'll get people excited, it's, I'm excited about
Well,
it.
we're really excited about it, and I think, the key is for this to look like $1 million, but not spend them, we know how much we're going to spend, but
We want it to look
so-
more than $3 million.
So you're building maybe 500,000.
There you go. So, anyway, but I
It's
think,
gonna be a big improvement.
yeah, yeah. I mean, our hope is that we can help, people will take note when you go to either one of these high schools that they're a cut above, and I think they will be if you go to most facilities around here, so.
President does a good job.
Yes.
They've only been there 55 years or however long it was, 72, so.
55,
51.
52.
However long it was.
Was that the year both stadiums were, concrete stadiums were built? Okay.
They went to Crockett.
They,
The second graduating
I'm
class.
thinking they moved, didn't they move the stadiums from Dobbins Bennett? Isn't that what Dobbins Bennett had? And they put it at Crockett, I think. I can't remember, but I'm pretty sure that's what it was. So.
All right, so moving on to the culinary project as well, and unfortunately, the gentleman that's been working on this is on vacation this week, so I'm winging it a little bit. I'll just be honest with you, but I have been involved, and I know Paul's been involved some as well, as we've been kind of going through this and talking about this over the past several months. But this is just after speaking with Dr. Adams and speaking with a culinary teacher and from what I understand, we were tasked with kind of coming up with a floor plan for what could happen in the culinary arts classroom, and then maybe trying to throw a number at that of what potentially this could cost. And so if you see there on the floor plan, you see the countertop that has been added there with the new ranges and stovetops.
There's five of them.
Yes, I believe there's 5 of them where the five dots are. There's also going to be a new cooler and a new freezer, as well as, I think they talked about 6, you can correct me if I'm wrong, right? 6 4x6 stainless tables, 1 dishwasher, which we talked about being a residential type dishwasher, and the reason being is, just back up one slide, right there, be perfect. The reason being is that a commercial dishwasher is going to require more hoods and more expense and that kind of thing. And then a stackable washer and dryer as well. What you're looking at there is kind of we asked our mechanical engineer to take a precursory look at it as well. And so this is the hood, and it's going to require, because of the new 5 stoves, it will require a new makeup air unit for that space as well.
Zoom in on that. You can zoom in on just the specific area.
Are they a way that you can put a washer and dryer in there without it being stackable?
The stackable, I believe, if I'm right, was requested.
It was in the area of in that room where they actually have the hookup for washer and dryer.
Thank you.
It's tight space, stackable, about the only one that'll fit in there. There's not enough room to put 2 in there.
Well, the argument I've got with that is when one goes bad, the other one's might still be working, and you've got one that ain't working. And that's why I say,
They come separate now.
Yeah, you can stack full size on top of each other.
Yes.
okay.
Is there anything you want to say about that drawing there?
Well, the only other thing I was going to jump in there on the the commercial, when the discussion about the commercial dishwasher, the thing, Rusty Wellick, our mechanical and plumbing engineer, he said you didn't even have the water heating capabilities to even supply that. So that was where it went back to the discussion about a residential type, or one or two, right? Are we still talking about two of the residential dishwashers?
She has one that she feels if she gets a second one,
And
it
the
will
second one,
suffice to cover
Right,
the
yes. So anyway, so then, so we're not adding, another water heater and everything like that, so.
Golly, it's it's more elaborate than I thought we was gonna end up.
Do we have any kind of idea on the cost on this? Just a
So I'm
ballpark.
gonna give you my guesstimate. In talking with the mechanic, in talking with the mechanical engineer, so I had him give me a number for what he thought that his portion of the work was going to, and he felt like that if we'd need to budget around $150,000 just for the mechanical work. And that includes the makeup area unit, the equipment, the install, the hoods, all that kind of stuff. The one good thing that we found out, there was in question about whether or not there might actually need to be added structural work for the makeup air unit. Found out today it does not look like that is going to be needed.
But it's a 1,700-pound makeup air unit.
Yeah, correct. But we have a little bit of work to do with our structural engineer on that to make sure that it's placed in the proper area on the roof. But that's just for mechanical work alone. And then obviously there'll be a little bit of roof work. There's going to be some ceiling rework, electrical. We did talk about locating an electrical panel, an electrical room in that area. I'm not exactly sure personally why that was needed, do you remember, Dr. Adams, was it because there was insufficient power?
There's insufficient
Okay.
power, that room,
Because of the
power,
new-
all that,
Yeah.
because those stoves are also electric, they're electric gas hydrants, so.
Okay.
And we have a room picked out, we can
We
add
do.
the electrical stuff to it.
Yep. So there's added work besides just the mechanical equipment. So, I mean, just guessing right now, we feel like that it's probably in the range of about $300,000. Total, yeah. It could be a little more, it could be a little less, and I mean, these projects are the hardest projects to estimate. I'll just be real honest with you, okay? And I feel more confident in my mechanical number than I do my own, the own number for the rest of the work, to be honest with you. The mechanical engineer's got a good idea of this type of equipment and what's required and the installation and what those numbers, but it's the other work, the little bit of roof work here and a little bit of, some electrical work here and, and all this. And, what people these days, like we talked about earlier, they're busy. And just to get them to come out to the job site for a little project, you're going to pay for it. I mean, that's unfortunate, but that's the way things are right now. So, best guesstimate, and I talked with him, and he's had some experience in some projects like this as well. He thought that $300,000 number was a pretty good ballpark number. Like I said, though, it could be a little bit more than that. Maybe it's a little bit less than that. We are doing, it's not really in comparison, but we are doing a culinary arts classroom up at Morristown East. And actually it's at Morristown East, but it's for both East and West. And, they spent $1.2 million on theirs. Now theirs was more.
Qualify that. They spent about, on bid day, it was about $850,000. And then there was the equipment that they bid separately that was additional to that. And then it's a 100-year-old building, so they had some structural issues that were pretty hefty that actually pushed it over $1 million in the construction.
And they did quite a bit more work than what we're talking about here as well. But but just the cost of those smaller projects are running pretty high right now. You just don't get the economies of scale like we've talked about in the past of a new building or something like that. So, but that's I feel pretty decent, pretty good about that number and, that it's in the ballpark one way or another. So very hard to get an exact estimate right now at this point. But I've got everybody the people that have helped to kind of get this to this point. We have told them at this point, we're not doing any more work to it till we hear what the pleasure of the board is. And, once we hear from you guys, if this is a project you decide you want to go, then they're ready to complete the drawings and get it ready to go to bid.
Well, I can't say it's on our agenda tonight for discussion, so hopefully after your presentation, we can hopefully come to a decision tonight.
Sure.
And the reason it's $300,000 is to use the stoves that we already have bought, right? Is that the reason?
To install those stoves, that's what it'll take to install them and use them in that classroom.
That we have in stock now.
That we already have in stock?
We have them, they're sitting in the warehouse, yes, sir.
Now,
But I think too, if we bought different ones, we still have to have the hood system. Is that correct?
That's a huge cost. It's a commercial hood with fire suppression.
and we don't have a hood system in there now, right?
No.
But we've got stoves.
We do not have the commercial stoves, you don't
We have
have what
regular
supports the program.
ovens.
You need something to support the program.
And we're looking for this road we're building to take us 20 years down the road. I mean, I believe this is gonna last for a while to do this.
Yeah, it should. Yeah.
That's what it's all about. When you build a highway, you build it 20 or 30 years down the road. So.
That's right.
Your guesstimate on time frame, if we get a decision, say the first next week on completion?
The rest of you per se.
No, you didn't, but I mean, there's not a lot of work there
I think you
left.
probably,
I mean,
I think if we were given to go, probably within a month to 2 months.
So by
probably
Christmas,
tops. Yeah.
by Christmas break, you should.
Yeah.
I do wanna say this, because Dr. Adams and I just want to be clear. I don't want y'all to think I'm trying to hide something or anything, but so the equipment, the cooler, what I talked about earlier, the cooler, the freezer, the stainless steel tables, stackable washer and dryer, that's not included in this price, just to let you all know. Because we thought that maybe, and I talked with Dr. Adams about this, maybe that it might be cheaper for y'all to buy that separately, right?
I think the only thing we have right now is the stoves.
Yeah, okay, so I just wanted to make that.
Well, culinary may, their program may support and have some money to purchase some of those things. We don't know that because they do run a, profitable business because that's their CTE. So they might have some of those funds to be able to fund that because they did buy the stoves. That's how we acquired those purchases. Yes.
And Mr. Boyd, I'm sure can give that a stone on that detail.
Exactly.
Yeah, but to answer your question, I mean, you gave us, the go-ahead, we'll get it right. They've done some work, as you can see right there, and they can pick back up and finish that, I would say, pretty quickly, so. Within a month or so.
Yeah, and I say 1 to 2. 2 is, it shouldn't take 2.
But they're picking it back up, they gotta get back in there,
Fit it in their
fit
job.
it in their schedule and that kind of
And
thing.
hours.
Sometimes that takes a couple of weeks, so that 1 to 2 is probably good.
Any more questions for Paul, Tom?
Thank y'all.
No, thank you.
Thank y'all for coming out.
Good luck.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Yeah, Elizabeth.
Listen, Ginger has been playing a big role too. I don't want it to think, we just get to talk about it. Paul's been putting a lot of hours. We get to talk about it. Ginger got to talk about it too, but she's done a lot of hard work towards these
Thank you.
projects.
We appreciate y'all so much.
Thank you.
Appreciate you all.
Thank you
Y'all
very
been
much.
doing a great job. Thank you.
Let's take a 5-minute break.
Yes.
please. All right, next on our agenda, if I can give the recommendation on consideration of meeting agenda, please.
So move.
Have a second? Second. Discussion? Let's vote, please, Ms. Jennifer.
I've lost everything, sis. I can't find following, it's not there no more. I can pretty much read.
Does it say return to your meeting?
Yeah. Hey, you're pretty good, pretty smart fella.
So nobody keep.
Not smart. I can vote. That's fine.
Yes.
I voted too, dear. Okay.
Thank you. Next, if I can get a recommendation on approval of meeting minutes, please.
Make a motion, we approve the meeting minutes from June 29th and July 22.
Is there a second? Discussion?
I did.
Mr. Walters. Will you vote, please, Jim?
Nathan? All agreed.
Thank you. Mr. Boyd, announcements.
Just a list of dates. Of course, we've already passed the first day of the abbreviated day on the second. And today was the first full day of instruction across all of our schools. Also, we had a 1 o'clock HU meeting in which I updated, or I shared the discussions and conversations we've had around the just exploring the city building. That was all that I did. Other district updates I shared with the commissioners on the HU committee. Nothing was proposed for any action by them on behalf of any recommendation that we've made. Just a reminder too, the budget committee is next week. We won't have anything on that agenda, but we will attend, of course. And then we have a county commission regular meeting. That's the Monday, the 28th. And then for this board, we have the workshop scheduled for Tuesday, the 29th. Also, just a reminder, we also want to schedule the site walkthrough at the New Jonesboro. So anyone that's interested, we'll leave here in the van around 2:20 to get to the site around 2:30 or by 2:30. About an hour should be, good amount of time to walk through and see all the great updates. I think they're going to have model classrooms. They may not have furniture in it, but they have completed classrooms that you'll be able to see a completed classroom in some other areas. Certainly will be a little bit different than the last time you walked through the facility. And so it'll be exciting. And then we'll come back for the workshop that will begin at 5 o'clock that night.
Also, the 28th, Mr. Boyd, is it not the fall district meeting, TSBA?
Yes.
29th?
Yeah, Monday.
I think that's September, wasn't it?
No, it's August.
I saw it yesterday.
Mm-hmm.
I have September for sure.
Do you know where fall district meeting 28th? I have it on the calendar.
Do you know where it's at this year?
It'll be
I
announced.
thought we looked up Sullivan County.
Seems like he was right.
Yeah.
Jennifer can confirm that with everyone, let everyone know. One thing I do want to add to the announcements on the city building. I know in our workshop last month, there was questions posed from that workshop that you all asked the executive committee to address. We did. We met with Chairman Matherly and Mayor Grandy and discussed the questions that this board had. And at the time they could not answer, but they said they would get back to us. So I have not heard nothing. So I did take it off the agenda tonight for that reason. So if you have any questions, let me know and we'll move forward.
So the building is not going to be voted or discussed tonight?
No, ma'am. No, we didn't. I think there was some financial questions that from the workshop directed Jerry and I to ask. We did, and way Mayor talked, he'd have to get back with us on those. And we have not,
There's no deadline really, I guess.
there was, but I mean, at the time, we just, you know,
Okay, okay.
the way it's progressing, we just, you know, it's gonna take us more time to get the info before we, I think, before we can have a, actual vote on, what we want to do moving forward or not. So,
Did we have the Gray property on the agenda?
yes, it is on the agenda, yes, sir. All right, Mr. Boyd, report.
Just several items, just for board awareness and public record. One is just a quick update on enrollment. This enrollment was pulled on July 28th, but as of today, just comparing end of school year enrollment to today's, which is still, you know, it'll take several days to kind of even out and kind of level out, so to speak. But right now, if you just compare the end of the year enrollment to today, we're up 210 students on the rosters. So as we every day check and do physical counts of all the students there and try to identify if students aren't, why they're not, if they're not coming or if they're just absent. And that'll go on for the next 10 days or 10 to 20 days as we try to level out and verify enrollment. But right now, just comparing May end of year with beginning of the year numbers, it's just over 200 student increase in overall enrollment.
Are there any particular places where the numbers are up that you've got to watch on or not just?
Well, we have of course some principals that are nervous, but even today talking with one that had indicated they believe they're going to need another teacher. They're saying that some of the names, some of the families aren't showing up. So that's why we have to be
Give
patient.
it a while. Mm-hmm.
And at least, by the end of next week, we'll be in a much better place as far as knowing for sure. But after, the second week, we will have a really strong indication of where enrollment is. But if we have any areas that just we have very strong evidence that it needs a teacher, that grade level or in that school needs a teacher, we're going to move forward with posting and trying to identify a qualified teacher for that.
That's great.
Just other reports, just annual not annual, but monthly maintenance, the financial reports that Mr. Hill went over at the workshop. And the personnel reports are up to date as of August 3rd. Quite a lot of activity from the last personnel report in July, end of June until now. So there's a lot of updates with new hires of teachers and other staff and resignations and so on.
Are we still short several teachers?
Still, we have a couple of spots that we're trying to, principals have interviewed, they're trying to get teachers onboarded basically through HR. And we have several IA positions in the same boat. Principals are interviewing and recommending. We're trying to get instructional assistants hired as well. And obviously, the other areas, a continuous process of trying to qualify bus drivers and get new bus drivers. And those are the three areas: teachers, instructional assistants, and bus drivers, where we really have a huge push to get qualified personnel in there. Grant reports, Ms. McKinney's provided updates on just activity. This time we have a lot, we'll be applying for grants that are non-competitive, for example, this safety grant through the governor's budget. We will be applying for that. It takes a formal application even though it's not competitive, but we have to meet all the requirements so that we receive the funds, and we'll be doing that over the next month. What we anticipate, what we've been told is, outside of the SRO grant, which was going to the sheriff's department and thankfully adding and supporting our SRO program through our sheriff's office, we'll get approximately about $350,000 from the governor's budget in Washington County schools. The area of need that we've identified, those funds can be expended for security updates that include technology, meaning like some surveillance equipment and other things like that. And we have a really great need to update much of our surveillance equipment in our schools. Update our cameras, and then the back end that records surveillance. So we'll be crafting our grant application focused on those upgrades. And then Dr. Myers has provided just an update to support services or student supports, just this school-based behavioral health end of the year report, the contacts that our therapists that we have, our contract, our social workers, all those that are supporting in the schools, just their contacts with students and families, just to count. Other than that, that's all that's in those superintendent reports.
Any questions from Mr. Rick? All right, next is, if I can get a recommendation on consideration of consent agenda, please.
Make it a formal motion.
Second.
Second by Mr. Riddle, discussion. Let's vote, please, Jennifer.
Agreed.
Thank you. Okay, moving right along, discussion and our presentation, Mr. Boyd, school leadership team supplement.
I mean, that was discussed in the workshop. It was proposing a school leadership team supplemental pay for the members of each school's leadership team, an annual supplement of $500 to be added to our supplemental package.
And I think the total for that cost was $85,000.
Total cost, when we have fixed costs added to the amount, yeah, there's other costs in anything we do with personnel. Salary only shows one side of it. We also have costs associated with that. So yeah, the total cost was in the $80,000 range.
Any recommendation?
Yes, I'd like to move that that be accepted.
I second.
Discussion? All right, hearing none, let's vote, please, Jennifer.
Jody, second. Carries with 2 noes.
Thank you. And you'll take care of that, I'm sure.
Yes, sir. And then just to, emphasize, just for clarity, that is for teachers. They're outside of in addition to their already regular duties. It does not impact the school administrators. They are part of the leadership team, but that's their job. This is additional supplement to teachers serving in those capacities.
Is most of that during school, after school, or?
Well, it also includes time after school, and then also, leadership team as a whole, including the teachers involved, the teacher leaders, it includes time prior to the school year, after the school year, and sometimes during.
Which year round?
Yes, it can be. Yes.
Mr. President, do you have a question?
No question, just wanted to thank the, 7 members who supported it. It's been one of the main focuses that I've had since I took the tours of the schools and got a chance to speak to some principals, learn more what they did. It's a position that I kind of held for many years in my school, and it's a lot different than selling popcorn or helping with a math night or a reading night. Those are individual things that teachers do in schools because they support their school. This is something that the people that are chosen for this are doing on a weekly basis. They do during the summer. It's a lot more than just a little volunteer for an evening. So I think these people are going to well earn it. I'd love to see it even be more, but my main idea was to get it as established and at least paid at the minimum amount that anybody else is going to receive. So once again, I'm glad that it was supported, and I'm sure those people will be surprised when they hear that they're going to be receiving that after having been doing it probably for many, many years without any remuneration.
Okay, next is our culinary department project. I think the Lewis Group went over some cost. Of course, keep in mind that's just the mechanical side. It does not count the FF&E. The stoves are in place, but there'll be a lot of other things on top of that too.
Well, like Annette had mentioned, they can be responsible for some of the cost. Isn't that what you thought?
Yes, I think there's a lot of other places to pull some of those, the tables and stuff from, because those tables are usually $150, $200. I mean, they're, I know what they're talking about. We're talking about the stainless steel tables, the prep tables and stuff like that. So I think there's probably an opportunity because they do run the concession stand there and some things like that. So I think there's some opportunities for them to help with this project. But the fact is we, at this point, their work area has not been upgraded. That culinary piece plus the piece over at Boone that does the hospitality piece, that's one of the top 3 things in our region. And so I think it should be available to our kids, but you know, we have to support these programs because they're an educational program.
Right.
But on that, you know, just a thought, if it's majority of the board, we could maybe approve the mechanical side, then wait on the FF&E and see what their need is and see where they're at.
Right.
You know,
I think so.
before we approve something we don't know cost-wise, so.
So
They
have about 49,000 sitting in their account right now, if you're talking culinary. Now, what we don't know is if all that's available, they may have already planned, you know, we'd have to just check and find out.
It's a good start,
Well, I know it's very hard. It's not like it's a classroom that, like a CTE classroom that does nothing. They work really hard
They
at
have a
that.
good program to
They do have a good
start with and a good
program,
teacher.
And I think something maybe this board could help out with, you know, we all have a really good dinner prior to our board meetings, we can ask them to start helping with that.
Yeah.
You know, I'd rather put them running back in our system rather than with someone else.
And they have done those
They
things
have
before. I
done.
mean, they did the top 10% banquet one year and.
They did our CTE banquet.
Yes, they did.
Very good food.
So
Of
I
course, y'all
think
know
they,
that, so.
Do we need a motion?
Well, I also know where there's gonna be some stainless steel tables and stuff that's gonna be not used coming out of Jonesboro. There's a possibility that some of that
We had all
stuff
that
could be
those
used.
crews too.
Yeah, no, that just went.
By the way, do we need a motion?
Just to be clear, I mean, the motion is to authorize the completion of the construction documents and preparing the bid documents to put it out to bid. Ultimately, it'll come back to the board. After bids, you'll make the decision whether or not it goes any further.
so I'd like to make the motion to move forward.
Let's get a funding source, please, first, before we do it for Mr. Hill. Before we, if that's okay with you.
That's okay.
Well, now, can we go ahead and send it out? Because what
But we
Mr.
gotta have-
Boyd said,
We need a funding source before we put it out to bid.
but what he was saying, we may turn it down because it may come in too high.
Correct.
I think it's a good idea to identify the funding source. Mr. Bell can weigh in. My belief and suggestion is that, you know, it would have to come out of the board's fund balance. But again, that's just identifying the fact that there would be funds to support it. And when the bids come back and if the board makes a decision up or down, you know, the funds are there, but if you deny the bids or you don't accept any of them, you know, we're back to no expenditure.
To be clear, you're referring to the $300,000 estimate earlier. So yeah, unless you reallocate existing funds, obviously we don't have that in the budget, so you would have to vote to pull more from.
But we don't have no funds sitting nowhere that we could utilize.
Right.
Other than fund balance.
I mean, other than fund balance, and you know, when I say that, some of these lines in the budget are, you know, estimates, so it could be at the end of the year we have some extra I can move, but you know, we don't know that. You have, as far as budgeting purposes, unless you want to pull it elsewhere, you know, from another expense line, you have to budget more from fund balance.
Okay.
The 80,000 a moment ago that you approved in supplements was not budgeted either. The coaching supplements are embedded in the main teacher line, 71,100, 116. So that, what you approved will have to be absorbed into that.
From fund balance.
Yes, if that line is exhausted at the end of the year, yes. And again, there's a lot of variable expense in there too. We don't know how many interim teachers, for example, we'll need this year, but there is budgeted funds embedded in that to, you know, based on historical data.
Okay. Ms. Mack?
I'd like to make a motion that we move forward with the culinary department project pulling funds from fund balance if need be.
And what you would see is if you approve it, is on the next budget amendment. I would have that in.
And we have a motion, second discussion.
I don't care if we move forward with getting the bids, but I think $300,000 is a lot of dead money for just because we have 2 stoves or 3 stoves or whatever in the warehouse. And they're already doing it. I know they do a great job. Ms. Curley does a great job with their price and stuff, but I can't fathom 300. But it may probably be more than that.
Yeah,
I can't fathom that.
He said it was $1 million something at Morristown West, so.
Is there not anything our maintenance staff could do, part of that?
I mean, we can do prep work and do finish work.
I'd say do
engineering and heavy mechanical now.
Okay.
Along with what Chad said, and I think the culinary department down there does a fantastic job, and it's a good thing. I just find it almost humorous that we bought stoves, and we have stoves, and now we're having to spend probably $400,000 by the time it's said and done. It's kind of silly, but we are where we are, and it's a fantastic department, and it needs assistance. So, it's just,
What do you
it's a
recommend?
strange thing.
Remedy it in, we're kind of stuck between them.
It's the most expensive discounted stoves I've ever heard of.
I don't think you can do anything about this, but I think there may be a procedure going forward.
I agree.
Yeah.
But maybe they need to make sure we don't get the cart before the horse on this stuff. That's a lot. That's a big ask of this board to do that because we purchase stoves at a discount, But I'm not saying I'm against it. I just think moving forward, we would hope that something of this nature doesn't occur.
So I agree. The stoves, the purchase of the stoves, there was kind of a cart before the horse. But I do interject a little bit. We're not doing this because we bought 5 stoves. We're doing this because it needs to be updated to a commercial type cooking situation. And that is $150,000 hood and all the other things there. And then also we would still have to buy stoves. Now, we probably couldn't get stoves less expensive than what we have purchased them for. But it was to update a culinary art program that really has outgrown what it was that room was originally designed for, which essentially was what we all know as old home economics.
Right.
This is a culinary arts program which is way beyond, residential cooking.
And I agree with that. I just don't think, it's not even on our capital, wish list. And $300,000 or $400,000 or $500,000, whatever it comes into being, it's a pretty good number not to have it on our list. That's my opinion.
Well, we do have certifications coming out of this class, correct?
Definitely.
There's no way we can get grants to help with this, like we do with our other CTE programs?
Dr. Adams?
Go
Go ahead. No, I'm sorry. I thought you were asking him. I'm
Curious
sorry.
more than anything.
As a plan, I've had conversations with Ms. Haldren to begin the process of looking at grants for the other equipment in there that ties back into, as Mr. Boyd said, the certifications for the kids. There's bound to be grant monies out there available. How much they'll be and what we have to use them for, we haven't gotten that far. We're waiting kind of on what the board decides before we go down that path, because it doesn't matter if we have all this equipment if we don't have the other parts of it. It won't help her get to that level where she can produce all those certifications for those students.
And two, we're only putting it out for bid, we're not approving to do nothing yet too, so.
Well, what about our other high school?
That's my question.
Well, Mr. Chairman,
Because-
that's what I was gonna ask,
They're gonna have culinary, yeah.
Well, I don't wanna go down a rabbit hole, but is there any way in the future, just for us to look at, the partnering with the 2 schools with our CTEs, to look at different programs? I'm not saying we can do it because of room, or when we talk about partnering with John City, just like any CTE programs, if there's an interest from Boone to Crockett or Crockett to Boone, let's look at that. I know that's not the time and place now because we're getting ready to vote on it, but it's just something maybe we can discuss in the retreat, or Mr. Boyd and his staff can look
If one or
at.
the other doesn't happen, they go to the other school. Like, we didn't have HVAC at Crockett, and there was a student that went to Boone to take the HVAC class. They do partner with that.
How many kids do we have that's going between?
Now, I don't know, but I just know that for instance, that if it's offered at one of the high schools and they wanna take it, they can go take it at that high school.
I didn't mean to interrupt you, I'm sorry.
Well, that's okay, but
Yes.
I mean, they're cooking at Daniel Boone. We've eat over there.
Not anymore. It's all catered
It's all
in.
catered in.
When we go over and eat, it's all, and I didn't know that, just curious.
I thought they was cooking.
So they,
Swifty Pig.
no, they do the
Last time we went there,
management
we did eat Swift Pig. And I know where our CTE banquet, they partnered up, one did the, well, Dave Crockett did the food, and I think Daniel Boone did the hospitality side or
They
the
decorated.
decorations and all that, so they are partnering up. There's two different complete programs.
I'm saying like you know, like when they're, one go over and do the decorating at Boone and then one go do the culinary part. I don't know how that works, but what semester they're teaching what.
That's something Mr. Boyd can follow up
Yeah.
on and stuff too, I don't know.
I didn't mean to go down a rabbit hole, but it just kind of tied into what you said about grants and
Well, we
certification.
had money set aside anyway for CTE.
Yeah, we had
And-
250,000 in the budget for that, correct, Mr. Hill?
You did, but it was, you took it out, it's not in there this year because it was taken out.
Okay.
I wanna say it was taken out last year, but I need to.
No, they had it
No,
last
we
year.
had that
Crystal
last
was spending
They
it.
bought equipment, updated program equipment.
So this 3 to 350 is just to update a 1970-some building, up the code, so we can modernize a program that is evolving from basically every year. This will equip those students to be able to keep up with it.
And I agree with it. I mean, I just wanted to state that the way it was gone about, I don't agree with that.
I wasn't here to
But
stove.
not the necessity of it, and the upgrade is
Yeah,
needed.
the stoves are sitting in the commons area in that location when I was one of the candidates touring
Yes,
the school system.
yes.
They were in a box, in a crate, sitting in that area.
But I'm all for the program for the kids, and I think we've got fantastic leadership in that program. I think it's a good and needed thing. Like, again, my point is just, I would rather see it come about in a different manner.
In the future.
Yes.
Save money.
That way. I certainly agree.
Any more discussion? All right, Jennifer, let's vote, please.
My apologies if we got off track, sorry.
You got the same question I was going to ask.
I'll agree.
Thank you. Mr. Boyd, items prepared for surplus.
Yeah, just, process when we surplus unused, are things that need to be retired, so to speak, just require board approval. There's several items there. We have a salad bar. Most of these things are food service, as you can see. A pulper, a hot holding cabinet, serving lines, ice machines, serving tables. Almost all of these things are associated with our food service department.
Any stainless steel tables?
This time.
I haven't got to look.
No, there are no stainless steel tables. We definitely will put a hold on it into stainless steel tables.
Like it, staple, washer and dryer, I assume it doesn't work. So
Hey, my mom and dad had one, and that's the biggest piece of junk we ever put in the
I thought
house.
that's what they were putting in the culinary side, though, that's reading on this.
They're using the stack of two different ones, I think.
You don't have
You
to
can
use
get
all
front
one
loading
piece.
washers
They make
that
them better
stack.
now.
The dryer stacks on top, full size. Whether you put it side by side or you put it on top of each other, it's the same unit, same function.
As long as it ain't using the same, if it's using the same control panels, then if the control panel's in one spot that works both plate things, it's junk.
We will pursue separate units. Replaced separately if one goes out.
We have recommendations.
I make a motion that we surplus these supplies and put them on good goods.
We have a second.
I like this serving table right here, it's pretty nice.
Let's vote, please, Jennifer.
You can bid on it.
They'll bid on it.
I could give it to Crockett.
I'll agree.
Thank you. Next, we discussed the property next to Great Elementary School. It was asked to move to the agenda for tonight. Is there a recommendation for consideration to purchase it? And we'll make an offer of $400,000.
I'll make that motion.
I'd like to make another motion.
Okay,
What do you call that?
So I'll second it so you can amend the motion, Mary.
I want to amend the motion. They are asking $450. We have offered $450 a couple months ago. I feel like if we want it, we need, because we're not even going to meet again till August the 29th. Do we let, them, I would like to make a motion that we offer them $450. Their asking price.
Second.
Thank you.
We have a discussion, please, on that, on the $450 offer.
I think we should, and I'll tell you why. There was an offer that fell through yesterday. We cannot just say, okay, we can't counter our offer and say we're gonna meet tomorrow, and the property could get away from us. And we've got to be thinking long range. We're landlocked there. We still have to keep our eyes open and look at all options still available to us. I think we need to go ahead and move on that. But, because, we have to give 5 business days. We can't, we're not like a business that can just come back tomorrow.
Mr. Flair?
I agree with that and I support that, but I just wanted to see if we need to have some extra terms in the motion. Do we need to make that motion and let it work through Scott Bennett so we can, go through him and have him tied to that? Or with this motion, will it automatically, Scott Bennett, our attorney, it would work through him on that? How would that?
My recommendation would be have Mr. Bennett write the contract.
Yeah,
So
that's good. You can make a third one.
can they,
She could amend her.
Please.
She can amend her amendment.
Will you take your second back and let her start?
I
off?
take my second back, yes.
Thank you.
Okay, I make a motion, we offer $450, their asking price, and that we allow our board attorney, Scott Bennett, to do the contract for us, to present to, to review, yeah.
A second.
Now, any more discussion?
Question, what are we doing with the house?
Probably be demolished. We have no use of it. Unless we have somebody who wants it, and my opinion is give it to them, let them deal with it.
Maybe there'll be a washer and dryer in the house with these.
Good question, I have no idea.
A stackable one.
Maybe stackable. Mr. Irvin, I know you want to.
Oh, I'm a dying, I'm telling you. I mean, I just, Chad, you know horse trading, trading. You know it better than anybody sitting here. It's make them an offer and go from there. That's what I was going to support the 400,000, but I can't support the 450. They've come from 725. And that's what really burns me up is when somebody says that the school system needs this and then turn around and end up putting it on wanting to sell it to us for $725 and then turn around and put it on for sale for $499. Does that not bother you all? Lord of mercy. I mean,
Somebody's always gonna make money.
but you're gonna let them make money off of us. This is the kids.
When you die and I inherit your land, I'm gonna make money off of it.
This is the same property.
You don't trade. I'm just.
Well, we'll allow her to speak, she's a board member.
Okay.
Well, I'm still speaking, but my argument is I'll offer them 400 and see where they go.
And I understand, Keith, I agree with you, but we can't meet. We have to wait 5 days to
Hey,
get
I
it.
don't have a problem.
I just don't wanna lose it.
Ms. Dillon.
We offered them this 2 months ago at $450. They
Yeah, but
turned it down. Now they're asking $450, and I don't think we need to just go around and around. If we want it, let's go for it. We'd already offered this. I say sorry.
Yes, sir.
Call for the question.
Jennifer, let's vote on the amendment, please.
I've lost my doohickey here.
Here, I'll do it for
Your
you.
doohickey ran away.
I'll do it for you.
There it is.
Very bad.
I know there's one no.
Passes with one no.
Thank you. Now, let's vote on the motion as amended, please.
Okay, for clarification, could you, go ahead.
Go ahead, Ms. Jennifer.
Go ahead.
No, it's for the 450 and allow to develop the contract.
Yes.
This is,
This is what we're voting on.
gotcha.
Everybody clear?
So motion is amended.
Motion as amended, yes.
Carries with one no.
Thank you. Mr. Porter, I want to be in touch with him tomorrow. Okay, maintenance of Boones Creek Elementary athletic fields. I know Mayor Vest presented his offer to us last week and at the workshop, and we asked Mr. Hale to give us some directive on numbers. So, Mr. Hale or Mr. Boyd, whoever's got it.
Whichever.
Brad, Mr. Hill developed it, so just kind of review what you created, calculated.
So we would need another one?
Brad, if you want to
We're calculating it and
go over what you
dedicated.
put on there.
Sure. So meeting with Logan and Dr. Adams, we came up with what we thought Logan's best estimate was and what he would need. We do believe we would need to dedicate a full-time employee for that facility. So we've got an estimated cost and with the fixed costs associated with that. Part-time was, an extra part-time was ideal. That's more at the top. But long story short, with all the supplies, and there was some startup expense that Logan believes he would need. So, if we don't have the part-time person in there, in addition to the full-time, you can see $72,134 estimated expense. Now, the right column is some startup expense that we were discussing. Bleachers are not included, Dr. Adams found out, with this project. So that really is about the minimum that they think is needed, that $50,000 for those. A maintenance building to house some extra equipment that'll be necessary for this facility, and you can see temporary mounts and miscellaneous. So all in all, the startup expense is around, I believe that's $101,000. If we scroll down there a little bit more, is the estimate on that. Yeah, 101
total. So
total, in addition to the annual of 72 for the facility.
And I think this estimate is based upon when the tournament starts.
Yes. Because with the demand, you have to remember, it's more than just yard upkeep. There's custodial type work that has to be done in the restrooms. There's trash pickup. And there's field preparations that they would be doing. So it's not just mowing the grass, to really upkeep it correctly.
Okay, so we were asked by Mayor Vest to provide services for this. Why is there bleachers on here? That's not a service we provide.
We're gonna have bleachers, and it's not in the bid, not in what the county commission is putting in, we found out. We're gonna have bleachers at the stadium.
But they built something without, they didn't build the full stadium. But that's still not on Mayor Vest.
Mr. Adams, I guess you spoke with someone about the bleachers?
Phil, Patrick, and I looked over the plans, and the bleachers were not included. Full disclosure, I've reached out to the project manager twice to try to set up a meeting so we could walk the property and get a better idea of exactly what it is they're proposing. They do have a maintenance building on the plans, but we've been told that has been taken off. I don't have any other proof besides a verbal understanding that they had taken the maintenance building off, and we'll need all that equipment out there. We'll have to have a dedicated gator. We have to have a groomer that will groom those turf fields, places to put all the other materials, the chalk lines, paint. I would like to say once we meet with the project manager, that we could find out more. But again, I've reached out to the gentleman twice to try to set up a meeting, and he's not responded, let alone to say, give me some dates. He's not responded at all.
I just feel like this is two different items. I don't think they should be combined together because these pieces don't have anything to do with Jonesboro. The bleachers, I mean, if they were taking care of it, would they have to provide the bleachers?
That's the reason why that's in a different column to start at.
Is there any way we could go back and look at what the commission was supposed to include?
Yeah, I'd like to
I
see
can't
that.
remember, but it seems like bleachers were part of it.
I thought it was too, but I can't.
I'm sure.
I mean, I understand the gator, I understand the mower.
Yeah.
I understand, you know, like your perimeter fencing, because I know we have to have that at every school, and I understand that being our responsibility if our kids are gonna use it. I also, you know, understand the lining of the baseball fields and things like that. That is our maintenance issues, but the bleachers and the portable mounds and all of that, you know, and the maintenance building, I get we have to have a place to put our stuff, but there was supposed to be a place there. So I just think we need to check out
I'd like to
more
see it
information
too.
on
I'd like
that.
to see what they included.
Mr. Urban?
Y'all need to remember that this is the county's. This is not ours.
I know, that's what I'm saying.
And the town of Jonesboro is asking us to maintain it. So somebody needs to go, and namely a county commissioner, needs to go and say, look, you don't have no bleachers, you don't have no places to store stuff. So it's basically, I don't feel like it's our responsibility. I mean, yeah, it is, but yeah, it ain't. It should be a county commission issue. Somebody, as a county commissioner, should say,
And
Where's it at?
where's it at? I mean, how's the kids gonna be? Well, I mean,
since you brought up tournaments was in this, since they own it, are we gonna get the money for the tournaments or what? I don't know. See, none of that's been, I mean, we're spending this, but,
There's no request to spend the money.
okay,
This is an estimate of what it will cost us to manage the facility.
just to manage, okay.
Maintain the field and then have it operate, and that's why bleachers were included. We do not see that bleachers are there. We know to operate this facility, it needs bleachers.
Mhm.
Whoever buys them, we were just trying to highlight all of the potential costs. Some of these are one-time costs. The recurring costs, of course, are labor and the equipment is recurring in the sense of it costs money to operate them and they'll have to be replaced eventually.
And that,
Yeah, I think, I mean, we asked for these numbers to come back to us. I mean, the main thing is we wanted to know what it was gonna cost a year to take care of it, you know, 72,000 or 98,000. Me personally, and I'm not gonna argue about numbers, but I mean, I don't know why we would need to hire an extra when we'll not have to take care of two schools, hopefully in the near future. So we'll have, you know, we can pick that up, but now I mean, maybe we do. If we do, it's great, but, you know, what they offered was 200,000 over a 10-year period of time, correct?
250, I believe. 37,000 a year, I think was the. Do what?
For
I thought he
five,
said 35.
Was it 35?
35,000 for 5 years. So,
5 year, 35,000 a year.
For 7 years.
For 7 years.
Pay it out over 7 years.
Pay it out over 7 years.
$250,000 total.
Total.
you know, without the part-time help and, you know, even a full-time help, I mean, we're really only paying us half of what it's gonna cost, and that's what we asked, you know, Brad and Logan and Dr. Adams and Mr. Boyd to put together for us. So, I mean, keep in mind, it's either, you know, it's a yes or no, are we gonna take the 35 or 37,000, whatever it is, from the county? I know it's 250,000 for the town, or we're just gonna say no and you all take it, pick it up.
So the two maintenance people, the full-time and part-time was, one was what, 41,000, and the part-time was, so we're talking an extra 50,000.
So,
For the full-time employee with the
41
fixed cost
plus
and
eight.
benefits, roughly 50,000.
So 50, about 75,000.
Yeah, if you had a part-time with the.
Dr. Adams?
Just looking straight up at the actual mowing, there's approximately 20 more acres at the Boones Creek site than there is at the two Jonesboro sites. We estimated that it would take about 15 man-hours a week to do Boones Creek, and right now it's taking about 9 man-hours to do the Jonesboro schools total. And the reason we put all this together is because eventually we're going to be there, and the expectation is those tournaments are going to be ran, and I would assume, maybe hopefully not too foolishly, that Washington County schools would be responsible to see those tournaments. And so we basically put into this annual cost what we spend to run Ridgeview, because we anticipate it'll be a lot like the tournaments at Ridgeview. So the lawn mowing, the grass care is about 50% more man-hours, and then taking over and doing the actual fields and run the tournaments. That's what we're trying to figure in here. We are aware that it's kind of two different things, but ultimately to us, it's all the same because the grounds crew is going to take care of it.
So we were asked by Jonesboro, 10 years, 250,000. I'm gonna put that in the form of motion because we need to vote up or down. And I'm not gonna support it, but I think we owe it to the town of Jonesboro to either, vote on what they asked. And then I'm just hear me out, and then come back and say, well, no, it's gonna cost us $100,000 a year, and send that to them. So first, if you allow me, I'd like to make a motion on the 10-year, $250,000 that Jonesboro offered. Let's put it to a vote. That's my
Have a
motion.
motion, have a second.
I'll second that.
Discussion.
Vote on it.
Well, I'm sitting here doing some figuring. And it's gonna cost us $525,000 at that $75,000 a year to maintain it at them figures. And over that 7 years, the town of Jonesboro is gonna get $3.1 million for maintaining.
$450 a year.
Yeah, out of that $450 a year. So, that's a little.
Well, I think we owe it to Jonesboro to vote up or down on this. And
Yeah, I think with Chad's motion, I think let's vote on that, then if it's voted down, then maybe we can come back to what you're saying.
I would like for us to maybe pass this information along to Jonesboro so they see what our costs are.
Yeah, that's a good idea.
If it gets voted down, I still would like for them to see the actual why.
Numbers.
Okay, Jim, let's vote, please. Okay. Any more recommendations? Mr. Flanagan?
I think I'd like to make a motion that we do $100,000 a year, and send this paper with Jonesboro for 5 years.
We have a motion, we have a second.
Second.
Discussion.
So after 5 years.
Negotiate again. They're supposed to take care of it again for the lifetime of the lease. Let's see if it works for us, because, before we go back.
Because the cost may go up big time.
So you're offering like a 5-year lease contract on maintenance, and then discuss renewals or options afterwards. Is that what you're counting?
They're supposed to take care of it for the life of the lease of Jonesboro. So let's not tie ourselves in.
I'm thinking they only have 10 years.
That's what I think it is too.
It's not the life, it's a 10-year.
Seems like that's what.
10-year deal.
Yes, the agreement is between Jonesboro and the county.
Yeah.
And it was approximately $47,000 a month for 10 years, somewhere in that neighborhood. And there was a long list, and nowhere was the Boones Creek Athletic Field listed in any of that list. But it did say this list is not inclusive, all inclusive, and there are other things that these funds would be used for. But there were several things that Jonesboro was being paid by the county that amount monthly to tend to. And it was for 10 years. It was a
And-
10-year period. After that, the county then assumes all the responsibility and cost.
And something else, if we agreed to the $100,000 for 5 years and whatever, are we in charge of the tournaments? Or, I haven't heard nobody say that we're in charge of them. Is it gonna be somebody else come in here and say, we're gonna maintain them, but we're not gonna benefit anything from the tournaments?
Well, we're still gonna benefit.
You talking about for the rental fee?
Yeah, rental fees, whatever, you know. I haven't seen no, we have first priority for our kids at Boones Creek School. After that, we don't. Who does?
Are we good?
I just wanna see some answers on this startup stuff over here, because that, I don't feel like that's our obligation. So I'd like to know from the county commission if there's something that they're going to be.
I think Jared's trying to meet with them to get us that answer, so.
Okay.
I'll reach out to the mayor tomorrow and see if I can get a better direction from
Yeah,
him.
Mr. Boyd can give it to us in our update. That's okay. But if you know, here's something.
So to clarify and correct myself, it's $41,700 per month. And it goes to the cost of maintenance and management of the facilities and other parks and recreation programs of the landlord, which of course is Jonesboro, including but not limited to classes and educational programs at the McKinney Center at Booker T. Washington School, Oak Hill School, Program for Youth Through Heritage Alliance, Jonesboro Story Initiative, school-based programs, Chuck E. D. Cole Museum Programming for Youth, Walkaway Development to enhance family exercise, youth-oriented special events, and other uses. Landlord will provide annually a tenant, which is the county, on request, a breakdown of costs of maintenance and management of the facility. So that $41,000 paid to Jonesboro is the landlord, the renter, leaser is the county, and that's what it says about that amount.
And that document come from,
That's the actual lease.
This is the agreement between Jonesboro and the county. This is not an agreement that includes the Board of Education.
And keep in mind, we are not listed as a leasing on this lease.
I think we just need to send them our no vote and pass along the information.
I think so
And then
too.
let it go from there. Yeah,
Okay.
just show them what it costs and I mean, we don't have to do anything. So we already said, no, that's what we were supposed to do and get her information.
I agree.
So it goes back to their table.
Yeah.
Mr. Taylor, did you have something to add?
I was just going to point out from an operational standpoint is, you know, once the middle school's vacated, there'll probably still be a time period, you know, before that building's sold or whatever you decide to do. So, you know, all of it will have to be upkeep. There'll be a period of time where we'll still be upkeeping that in addition, you know, to the athletic field. If the middle school's not gone before the athletic fields are completed. So that's what one thing Logan pointed out, you know, is how long will we keep it all?
There'll still have to be upkeep there.
Yeah, because he said, how long will we be upkeeping all of it? And we don't know that, because that's going to depend on when it's done and when, you know, the middle school is sold or whatever you do with it. So it's just, you know, there definitely could be more expense that is unknown.
Sounds like we need to have an executive session with the three bodies to kind of sort all this out. Might be, let us figure it all out.
Okay, we have a motion, we have a second. Any more discussion before we vote?
What is the
Motion was.
I thought the motion failed.
The motion failed for the 250. Chad made another motion, seconded by Mr. Walters, that we offer $100,000 a year for 5 years, I think you said.
I'll withdraw that motion if you all want.
I'll withdraw that second.
Yeah.
Y'all
Okay.
want to just send it back to them?
Yeah.
It's even easier if you want to do that.
Let's do that. You want to do that?
Take once they made a motion, they withdraw, then we're back to square one.
I'd like to make a motion that we forward this information to Mayor Best for his, and also along with that, I'd like to see us have an executive session with Town of Jonesboro and the commission about this.
We have a second, we have a motion,
Second.
discussion on the motion. Okay, let's vote, please, Jennifer.
All three.
Thank you. And Mr. Boyd can, I think, set that up in the future.
Yes. Just we'll work on that.
You can do that in your spare time.
Spare time.
Yeah, well, hopefully we can have some good conversation.
Okay, next on the agenda is the future of the Jonesboro Middle School facility and property along with Jonesboro Elementary road frontage and Midway facility. Any recommendation from the workshop?
Do we have to decide now? I mean,
We just push to the push to the meeting before they put it on the agenda, so.
I'd like to make a motion, we still take in different, has anybody talked to our Scott Bennett as far as,
I have.
well, I don't wanna have to.
Scott's statement has been, we have the agreement. If there's gonna be any difference, we have to negotiate a new agreement.
And I think the agreement just states we have to sell to a tax-paying entity, if I remember correctly, within 4 years of vacating. Is that correct?
Yeah, based on a written agreement, as soon as we occupy, when the project's completed, and it's written in a way that when we occupy the new facility, at that point, the so-called clock begins, and we have, well, the only thing that kind of muddies that is it mentions old Boones Creek Middle School property, and it also references Boones Creek Elementary School, so
That are
all
already
these
gone.
things happen at
Yeah.
once, but assuming it's based on when we occupy the new Jonesboro School, from that point, there's a 4-year window that the board is expected to proceed with the agreement of disposing of those properties.
Well, I'd like to make a motion that we postpone voting on this until our, can't think of the name of it, our retreat, thank you, our retreat, and then see if we could either get Scott Bennett here or get him to, FaceTime or whatever he needs to do with us in case we have questions.
Before we do that, we need to have a plan on what we want him to do.
Right, well.
We have to have a plan, what are we gonna do with the offices we have at Midway?
Yeah.
What are we gonna do this?
We should probably discuss it some more in our workshop.
Yeah, I think so too.
We have a motion, we have a second before we can continue.
Second.
Okay, discussion, Mr. Buchanan.
I was just gonna ask that, we just ask him to set up a meeting. That might be something great to put on that agenda to discuss, they have meetings, so we renegotiate or whatever. I mean, that, with there being interest from other county entities for that building, I think it would be nice to discuss that with the county commission in that setting.
And I imagine it would be in that same executive session as it, all 3 parties are involved.
That's what she's
Correct,
asking.
that's what I'm
She's asking.
Yeah.
Because that would be the place to discuss it.
Mhm.
That would be the place where we would know what direction to turn at that point, and that would be the place to decide if anybody wanted to renegotiate the terms.
That's a good idea.
Jonesboro's attorney.
Yeah, with everybody being involved and setting down, working together. So I just think that would be a great place to drop that.
If that's something this board wishes, would you like to amend your motion or withdraw it and re-motion?
Well, go ahead and I'll let,
You have to take yours away.
I'll take mine away.
You take second, please.
Yes.
Mr. Buchanan.
Okay, so I would like to make a motion that we add this to the executive meeting that Mr.
3 entities
Yes, with the 3 entities that Mr. Riddle asked for.
to discuss
To discuss
future.
the future of Jonesboro Middle.
And other.
I feel like a puppet over here. And the Jonesboro Middle, the Jonesboro property, the elementary school, the road frontage, and Midway facility.
Second by Mr. Walters. Discussion?
Be careful, you get 3 lawyers in a room, I don't know.
Yeah, try. Well, what I said down there at the workshop, what does everybody think that property's worth? I mean, are you willing to give it to them? Are you willing to, if they come in here, if the county mayor comes up and says, we want it, well, we're gonna ask for it. That, I mean, or is he gonna come in here and say, we're just gonna take it?
Well, I don't want to get the cart before the horse.
Well, no,
They want it.
I would like to know, before I even sit down with them, is some kind of figure of what that piece of property is worth. I mean.
Well, we'll find out when they meet with them if they're even interested. I mean.
Still, even if they are interested,
Okay.
what is it worth?
And we can come back, bring back to the board what the discussion was, and we can take it from there as far as if we want to pursue it or not, or, I don't know, it's up to this board. I'll do whatever y'all ask.
I feel like we need to know what we're.
Mr. Flair, did you have a report? Oh, I thought you had your hand up, I'm sorry.
I know, but.
Any more discussion? All right, let's vote on Mrs. Buchanan's motion, please.
I love your shorthand.
Great, with one now.
Thank you. Okay, next, policy, I'll turn that over to Mr. Boyd. I think there's three of them.
Yes, sir. You get back, find my spot, so I can lead us through it. There we go. There are three policies, just updates in language. The student wellness. Oh yeah, I was wanting to pull up student wellness, if you can pull that up, Ms. Bergner. Essentially, all these policies are just updating language. The one in student wellness is just an update in language to reflect the law. Policy 4.301, interscholastic activity, athletics. The main thing there in that one is there is the TSSAA governing board passed policy that there would be a for fans that have misconduct during an event, schools will be charged a fine if their fans are removed for misconduct. And our policy is being reflected to being changed to ensure that language is included in the board's policy, but also the step that if we have a fan that's attending one of our athletic events and they're removed and we're fined, they will be prohibited from returning to our campuses. There's the green, yeah. So that's that one, but that's the only addition in the interscholastic athletic one, is just to reflect TSSAA updates in the board's intent. That's the wellness in green. As you know, when we update policy, I want to go back to 6.411. Marketing of smart snacks. This is language that the SHU said needs to be in our policy. It's passed down from the state level that we need to have this in our board policy. So this is language that aligns to requirements of USDA about smart snacks, as you can see what those are. I don't know if it's intended to make our students smarter, but they're entitled smart snacks.
Smarties.
I mean, that's what we want and we strive for, but I don't necessarily know if that's the intent of that policy.
Ms. Walters?
Can I go back to the policy about the fine for the rowdy
Yes, sir.
folks?
Of course. I'm just trying to update, you all can make a motion to vote.
I understand. I'm just asking if people might entertain billing that fan or fans. If we get fined, put it off on.
One thing that has been proposed to TSSAA on that same situation, if a fan or someone in the audience or bystanders, whoever, if they're reprimanded for their whatever, they are asked to leave the stadium. They're not allowed to come back to that stadium until they actually call 3 ball games of their own.
I had a question. Whose responsibility is it to supervise people in the stand?
Game administrators.
So
The
the
umpire-
school,
The umpire.
okay.
will work with
So
the
no
game
school employees are designated to, if somebody's, doing something rowdy,
Yes, ma'am.
they are asked,
We're
okay.
responsible for managing our facilities.
Okay.
Now, the officials have control over the
Right, I'm
game,
not
and
talking
if it's
about-
interfering with the
right.
game, they're the ones that will determine if they're ejected. And from the TWA lens, that would result in a fine to our school.
Mhm.
We can remove someone
Before it gets
the
to that,
official
right.
intervenes.
Okay.
Because they have to warn them one time.
Right, okay.
Before they can.
They
That's
don't.
what one of them told me this week, but, okay.
But we do. I will say that we do. More than once, most of the time. Mr. Flair, did you have something to add?
I'm sorry, Mr. Board, I was gonna make a motion, but I'd rather you speak if you got anything to speak on the attendance. But if you got anything you wanna say on that?
It's just updating, just to reflect the changes in the law. There's a green section with the new language. Yeah, 6.200, our attendance policy. It's just trying to be more explicit about when notes need to be submitted for an excused absence. Instead of sometimes, in trying to work with families, sometimes we get notes at the end of the semester of an absent that might have been early in the semester. We're just trying to put a window on it in policy.
Ms. Buchanan.
I would like us to forego first reading on these, and I would make a motion that we pass, policy 6.411, 4.301, 6.200 on second and final reading.
We have a motion, we have a second.
Second.
Discussion.
I don't know if this needs to be part,
Go ahead.
I don't know if this needs to be part of the motion, but I'd like to see us, as a board or county, middle school, high school, anytime we're having these athletic events at our school property, is to go over, just a short statement regarding it. I know some do, but not all do. And I just like to start our game day,
You talking about the game administrator doing that?
I guess, or somebody.
There's supposed to be an announcement before every event. I mean,
The high schools do it, but I don't think the middle schools do.
well, our middle schools are members of the Tennessee Middle School, which is TWA as well.
Right.
It should be following the same guidelines. So that's just a matter of us following the guidelines that need to be followed.
Maybe we just need to reiterate that.
We are, and as far as the update on this removal of spectators, that we're gonna create signage that will be prominently displayed in all of our athletic facilities.
Any more discussion? Let's vote, please, Ms. Jennifer.
Have you already voted on the smart tax? Do you know what they are?
I'm sorry, ma'am, we're in a meeting, I can't allow.
Oh, I'm sorry, I was
No
just looking
problem.
up about smart
No problem.
tax. Okay.
Thank you. All right, additional items, I think there were some late purchase orders. We can go over each every one, or if anybody want to take a few minutes and look over. If you have any questions for Mr. Boyd or Mr. Hale, feel free, they can answer your question on them.
First purchase order is for Lexia Learning. That's a K-8 literacy supplement platform our schools are using. It's an annual subscription. If you want me to just to highlight all of them, and you
just
okay.
With the board, is there any questions on any of them?
Go ahead.
Highlight them.
Okay. Second purchase order, item 7A2 is a replacement of 2 water heaters. We received quotes. This is the the one quote we have, the lowest quote that we have, the only quote we have. The others, I think, were far more than this preliminary wise. And you see the one closest was 21,000. And 14,000 was the lowest one for the 219 gallon water heater. Full replacement.
That is unreal. And which school is that at? Westview? Okay.
Yes, sir.
I know they've done it, but are they a chance at some of these schools that we could purchase gas hot water heaters and, you know, instant hot water, instant heater? Because, you know, some of them it's a lot cheaper to go that route.
I'm assuming based on their assessment of the system that they're recommending these replacements because that's what works best with the system. When you go to those instant on, you have to, you know, you'll have to install more in a large facility.
Yeah, we have a capacity issue with those instant heaters.
Well, if you got one big enough, you wouldn't, I mean, how much longer would they last? That's what I was wondering, that's whatever. $14,000 for a hot water heater's pretty crazy.
That's two of them, correct?
Yes, it's 2 replacement water heaters at Westview Elementary School. Total for the replacement is that amount, $14,818.43. Next is furnishing. This is through the Innovative Schools model grants. Several of our schools receive funds. This is specifically a request for Grandview. It's over $10,000, so it's come to the board for the purchase of the CT STEM lab furnishings using grant funds.
So I want to say that when the kids found out they were getting this, it has been a buzz the last 2 weeks. They found that they were getting the STEM thing. So I want to say thank you for you working on this and getting this into our schools. The kids are really excited about it.
Well, you know, Miss McKinney, our grant writer,
yes.
and then previously Crystal Fink, and now Kelly Hallgren, and then also Dr. Josh Davis now. And the principals and the teachers. I mean, they're the ones that really do a lot of the hard work in identifying how we're going to make this happen.
So all of the schools now have this?
Yes, it's through state funds, they're specifically targeted for CTE and career exploration. But, you know, as far as regional and just workforce development, the STEM focus is heavy in it, and a lot of the schools wanted to make sure that was included. So these career exploration modules they'll be engaging in, grades 6 through 8, is very STEM focused.
That's great.
I just had a lot of parents and grandparents say, my grandchild or my kid is going to be so, this is his thing, you know, because we have the arts and things like that. And I just think, I'm just overjoyed at this.
We want to bring back to the board, we had a good time there at one night, so.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I'm sure they'll be glad to come back.
You just want to play with those little gadgets.
That was
You're supposed to be reading in the robot.
Those are Sulphur Springs students that kind of demonstrated as Sulphur Springs students. But now at all the Ks, they have, some are already doing some STEM activities, but this really enhanced and it certainly focuses their career exploration opportunities in middle school grades.
So this included an instructor at every school?
Yes, the funds over the next 4 years. Also, all of our schools, with the exception of one, have a specialized STEM teacher that will be facilitating, just like in related arts, it'll be a STEM
So the one at
rotation.
Jonesboro Middle will be moving on to the new?
Yes.
Okay, good.
Our smallest K-8, South Central, they went in direction of an IA facilitating labs.
Okay.
What's
This
this
time-
time we're spring, so, and she done a fantastic job. So.
Yeah.
Now, Ms. O'Neill, the former science teacher at Sulphur Springs, is a STEM teacher now.
Oh,
for
wow.
Sulphur Springs, so
That'll be great.
she's gonna really focus, and she's been very involved and a strong leader, teacher leader in all of it at Sulphur Springs and really influenced the whole county's direction too, so she deserves a lot of credit.
I just think it's a great asset to our county.
I think it gives the
And our
kids
schools.
something happy to get out of bed and go to school in the mornings, knowing that this is just another element of their happiness.
It's a
of their
great
education.
Yeah.
Great lead in to the CTE program
Yeah,
too.
it is.
And that's the tie.
The door opening.
Is to connect to our high school programs and build interest and also preparation to enter into those programs to go on through high school into the workforce in those areas. Or know that that's not the direction they want to go when they get into high school. So they'll be fully informed of by their experiences.
And different things every trial.
The next item, 7A4, is our Raptor system. It's an annual update, the annual renewal subscription. Next item, 7A5, is, as you can see, it's more STEM lab through the ISM grants, innovative school models. And as you see, this is a list of schools. You see Boones Creek, Fall Branch, Grandview, Gray, Ridgeview, South Central, Sulphur Springs, and Westview.
Question on Raptor. The parent or whoever comes in the school provides whatever ID, and I guess there's some sort of a check into this person to make sure that it's somebody that you want in your school. Is that renewed or is that maintained forever? So the person comes back in 2 years and provides the information.
It gets scanned every time and run against the database. So it's what's in the database at that point in time when it's run.
Yeah.
So like the sex registry database.
Right.
Checks against that and those kinds of offenses. And so whatever is current in the system at the time that it's run. And every time you scan their government ID in there, that's what it's scanning for. Continue on, we have some more purchase order. 786 is more ISM grant purchases, as you can see. University School did receive this innovative schools model. They're because we're managing the grant and they're also part of our school system. This is for their request. 7A, just active internet technologies. You just see that's a management system renewal. Final Site is also was previously called Blackboard. The company Final Site bought Blackboard. That is our website management system. But now the company that owns it is called Final Site. But our agreement and annual renewal is still the same. 788, rock and asphalt for the basketball court at Gray.
Jared, when will that start?
Oh, that's done. The basketball court, Gray's finished.
This is our bill.
This is their bid.
Yeah, this is the bill, that's exactly right. The school's gonna reimburse us their $13,000 out of their school fund, and then maintenance is gonna pick up the remainder of that.
That's from their fundraisers.
It's just over 11,000, so we'll pick up the rest of it.
That's from their fundraisers they had, I guess.
Right.
Thank you.
They had earmarked it for that particular project. Next item, 789, is our Staples large purchase copy paper contract. Using the Sourcewell contract. Some reams of paper that we produce. Item 10, 710, this is training. This is also using ESSER $3. Each of our schools were given allocations. This is for training. I believe this is possibly for high school. Yeah. Yeah, this is Danube training and support using their ESSER dollars that were allocated to them. And then finally, 11, let's see. This is the same group, NIET, more math implementation network funds. As you notice, the item 1442, that's federal dollars.
Any recommendation, Mr. Flair?
12A1 through 12A11. I'd like to make a motion that we approve all these POs to be approved.
Second.
Discussion.
My apologies, I was reading 7A, it's 12.
Oh.
I think I was saying 7A, but I may be saying 12A.
It's okay.
We
knew where you were.
I was reading correctly, I was just saying my Roman numerals wrong. My apologies.
Any more discussion?
That's
It's the second day, Terry, so I mean, we'll let you slide.
As I get way past 50, my eyes are worse and worse.
And Jennifer did remind us the full name.
It was the
I'm
other
just
day.
saying. Any more discussion, Mr. Irvin?
Well, I'm gonna say this because I'm sitting there looking at the pug mix that we put on that ball court up there for the ball court, and we had 3 loads brought in to spread, and we got charged $1,900 and $2,100 and something like that for each load. Whew. Lord have mercy, people. $95 a ton. It's not that much, but it's done, so.
Okay, any more discussion? Let's vote, Jennifer, please.
Voting second.
Thank you. The only other thing, Mr. Flynn, I'm sorry.
No, just, I wanted to say the school opening where we had all the teachers at Boones Creek, thought was good. I kind of come in late, so I kind of got shielded. Y'all didn't see most of these up there, but, one thing I will say, the sound in Boones Creek, and I've known this for a while because kids play ball there, is
Yep, it is.
I would like to see us, and I'm not gonna prove tonight, but at least get whoever come and look at Lamar to go at Boones Creek and look about soundboards or whatever, and bring it back to us at the next workshop, if that's okay. It's just, it doesn't.
I think Dr. Adams has gotten very good at getting quotes on those materials.
It's just not, I don't know if something's wrong, either the speakers aren't in the right place or the sound dampening or something.
Is there any way you could get out there just to see where the speakers are as far as where they're at, to see if that would help, I guess, maybe? I don't
And
know.
Sweeney usually does a lot of our
The tech
speakers.
department installed them, and there were 2 in the front, and there were 2 in the back, and they were pointing toward the middle of the room. And they were big portable speakers that they brought in.
We can get out there and assess it.
Maybe have to do a workshop.
Yes, sir.
Thank you.
I'm with Chad, I think I probably understood 50% of what you were saying. When you got closer to me, I could understand it better, but when you walked away, kind of got a little bit more garbled.
We're relit.
Well, I'm gonna make a motion. Well, I don't think I can, but I still would like to see this board do an appraisal on the Jonesboro property. I don't want to go in there not knowing. I mean, you have an opinion, I have an opinion. If we had some kind of figure, what we think at roughly what it's worth, then, you know.
One quick way, you can go to tax assessor and see what the tax assessors would be assessed on.
But on the school.
Yeah, once it's.
Yeah. Could we ask the director to get some quotes on some appraisers, what it would cost to have it done?
That's.
And bring it up at our workshop. Well, I wouldn't mind.
Yeah, we can, I mean, they're professional service, we can get what they would charge for the.
Are you talking about, I'm sorry, are you just talking about the middle and, or you want to do it separately
Well,
with
it's,
the
I mean,
property in
we're
front?
supposed to sell by the thing, we're supposed to sell the middle school and the property in front of the of the other. And my thinking is that if we was to sell it and we get a pretty decent amount or a good amount, then we could pay to have that ground part tore down and build a new entrance and stuff into what we plan on doing with the elementary part. That's my whole thinking of what can be done. And we wouldn't have to be using fund balance or anything to do this with. And that's, I'm trying to think out there.
Mr. Boyd said he would give us something back at the workshop.
I appreciate it.
Only thing I want to just remind everyone, our workshop August 29th at 5. Our walk through at Jonesboro is at 2:20 the same day. And Jennifer will confirm the fall conference on the 28th. Other than that, meeting adjourned.
So, county commission meeting or the other meeting?